Chapter 2305. The Phi. Under the gaze of the Zhui Yunfeng couple, Lin Taifeng and the rest, Jian Wushuang and Lin Yan walked to the center of the garden. When they reached the center of the garden, Lin Yan held his sword up and told Jian Wushuang, "Draw your sword." "Sword?" Jian Wushuang smiled. Everyone was confused when they saw him walk over to the tree at the side and pick up a tree branch about 30 centimeters long. "This is my sword." Jian Wushuang waved at Lin Yan and said, "Jian Wushuang, are you trying to humiliate me?" Lin Yan exploded with rage. The spectators knitted their eyebrows in confusion. They thought that Jian Wushuang was being arrogant. Even if Jian Wushuang had a terrifying talent in the sword doctrine, he had been tested for it and he was facing a child who was 2 years older than him. How could he beat him with just a branch? Wushuang is usually a thoughtful kid. Why is he doing all these nonsensical things when it comes to swordplay? Does he really want to become a sword boy? Luo Xinqin said. "Humph, who knows? I realized he has been under my protection all along and has never tasted failure before. If he loses to Lin Yan today, I will definitely send him over to the Lin family to become a sword boy," thought Zhui Yunfeng as he clenched his fists tightly. Everyone thought that Jian Wushuang was being too arrogant and had underestimated Lin Yan. The only people who would not think so were those who knew who he really was. Jian Wushuang was an old monster who had lived for around 100,000 years. He would be making a joke of himself if he were to use the Blood Mountain sword in a duel with a kid around 14 years old. However, Jian Wushuang felt that he was bullying Lin Yan as by even using a branch. If he wanted to humiliate the Lin family, he could beat Lin Yan even without a branch. "Humph. Since you want to become a sword boy so badly, I will fulfill your wishes. However, since I am 2 years older than you, I will be in a higher realm compared to you. To be fair, I will not use my divine power at all. We will only compete in terms of our sword skills," Lin Yan said through clenched teeth. "That is no need for that. Just use all the power you have. That way, you will be convinced about your eventual defeat. You are in the early stage of transformed God realm. I have also reached this stage." Jian Wushuang smiled. As he said this, a wave of divine power surged from his body. "Huh!" Lin Yan was shocked. From the aura that was radiating from Jian Wushuang, he could sense that Jian Wushuang was as powerful as him. Early stage of transformed God realm? He has reached this stage and he is only 12? Lin Taifeng and Lin Yi looked over in surprise. Even Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin were stunned. The type of cultivation done in the eternal chaotic world was different too in the absolute beginning divine world, hence the stages of cultivation were also named differently. Within the absolute beginning divine world, a cultivator would start as a practice god. In this realm, there were a total of 13 steps. Each step was a huge breakthrough. With how abundant spiritual energy was in the absolute beginning divine world, any genius could finish the 13 steps quickly. After practice God was transformed God. A transformed God was equal to a universe God back in the eternal chaotic world. A universe God would turn all of the spiritual energy he accumulated into pure divine power. This was the same in the transformed God realm. The only difference was that one had to pass the universe God trial to become a universe God, while there wasn't a trial to become a transformed God. What came after the transformed God realm was the pure sun realm, which was also the equivalent of a real god. After the pure sun realm was the chaotic realm, then the divine demon realm. The divine demon realm was also referred to as a chaotic divine demon. Chapter 2306. A duel with sword skill? Are you kidding? Zhui Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin looked at each other in disbelief. Impossible! Another roar was heard. Lin Yan took 2 steps back before he attacked again. This time, he used the strongest sword skill he had mastered. The sword light traveled very quickly and mercilessly as it targeted Jian Wushuang. The sword light seemed as though it was about to tear Jian Wushuang into 2. Watch closely. Lin Taifeng, Zhui Yufeng, and the other adults used their soul powers to track Jian Wushuang's movement. When Lin Yan attacked, Jian Wushuang was ready. He took a step forward. Before Lin Yan could land his blow, the branch hit Lin Yan's wrist at lightning speed. A loud slap could be heard as Lin Yan felt a stinging pain in his wrist. His attack crumbled instantly as he dropped his sword to the ground. You still want to continue the duel? Jian Wushuang smiled at Lin Yan. Lin Yan was completely taken aback. Wow, the little one can see the flaw in Lin Yan's sword skills easily. Furthermore, he didn't even use any sword skills. He only used the most simple sword moves and he still defeated Lin Yan easily. A flash of excitement was seen in Lin Taifeng's eyes as he looked over at Lin. Lin Yi, can you easily defeat Lin Yan using a branch, without the use of sword skills? Lin Yi was taken aback. He answered honestly, if I can use sword skills, I will be able to defeat Lin Yan easily. If I don't use sword skills, I can still defeat Lin Yan, but I won't be able to do it as easily and smoothly as this little one did. Furthermore, there is no way I could detect a flaw in Lin Yan's sword skills, make a decision and strike so accurately. This also means that his understanding of the sword doctrine is deeper than yours? Lin Taifeng squinted his eyes and asked. Lin Yi fell silent. As much as he did not want to admit it, it did seem like Jian Wushuang's understanding of the sword doctrine surpassed his. Humph, and you said so confidently that this little one had no talent in the sword doctrine? His talent is not as terrifying as the people outside claim it to be? And you said you personally tested his talent in the sword doctrine? Lin Taifeng scolded. This, Lin Yi knitted his eyebrows. He did not reply. Instead, he walked up to Jian Wushuang. At that moment, the battle between Lin Yan and Jian Wushuang had stopped. Lin Yan was not stupid. After losing to Jian Wushuang twice, he knew that Jian Wushuang's sword skills were far superior to his. He would not attack a third time. That would make him seem like a sore loser. Little one. Lin Yi came up to Jian Wushuang and asked in a deep voice, 4 years ago when I tested your talent in the sword doctrine, did you take my test seriously? Or did you hide your true power? Lin Yi thought this was what had actually happened. He felt that it would be unbelievable if Jian Wushuang had a greater understanding of the sword doctrine than him at this young age. Jian Wushuang had to be insanely talented in the sword doctrine for that to be true. But with this talent, how is it possible that Lin Yi did not see any essence when Jian Wushuang practiced the sword principle Bei Ming 4 years ago? Hearing this, Jian Wushuang shook his head slowly and said, No, I did the drill seriously. Then why was there no essence in your drill? Is it because I made it too complicated and you could not understand initially? Lin Yi asked curiously. I understood it and did the drill properly. It was you who did not understand my drill, Jian Wushuang said. I did not understand you drill? Lin Yi was stunned before he asked, What do you mean? Why don't I show it to you? We shall have a duel with sword skills right here, right now. I will use the sword principle Bei Ming that I learned 4 years ago. As for Uncle Lin Yi, you can use whatever sword skills you like, Jian Wushuang said indifferently and confidently. You want to have a duel with me? Lin Yi raised his eyebrows before he turned back and looked at Lin Taifeng. Lin Taifeng nodded his head in approval. Little one, are you going to use a branch in this duel with me? Lin Yi looked at Jian Wushuang as he drew his sword. For me, anything can become a sword. The sword skills that I use when I hold a branch are not much weaker than when I use the same skill when I am holding an actual sword, Jian Wushuang smiled. What an arrogant one. I want to see if you can really beat me with your branch. Lin Yi smiled. Attack me. Jian Wushuang held his branch with one hand and placed the other behind his back. He stood there and waited calmly. I am starting. Lin Yi dashed forward and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. He swung his sword in an eerie manner as it headed for Jian Wushuang's throat. It was so fast that the spectators could only see a blurred shadow of the sword. Husband. Luo Xinqin looked worried. She knew this strike was powerful and she was afraid that Jian Wushuang would get injured. Don't worry. Brother Lin Yi knows his limits. He has suppressed his divine power and is only using the power at the level of the early stage transformed god. Jian Wushuang should be able to deflect this attack given his understanding of the sword doctrine, Zhui Yunfeng said, trying to calm his wife down. Zhui Yunfeng severely underestimated Jian Wushuang. When Lin Yi attacked, Jian Wushuang moved as well. He smiled lightly. A soft hum that came from a sword could be heard. Jian Wushuang swung the branch he held in his hands. This swing was extremely ordinary and seemed as though it did not contain any essence at all. From the sword momentum, it did seem like this sword skill was one of the styles from sword principle Bei Ming. This ordinary swing collided with the sword light from Lin Yi almost instantly. When the two blades struck each other, the long sword in Lin Yi's hands turned slightly from the force from the branch. What? Lin Yi was shocked. Lin Taifeng, Zhui Yunfeng, and the others were in disbelief. Even though Lin Yi had suppressed his own divine power to the level that Jian Wushuang was at, Lin Yi's strike should have been more powerful given that he was using an actual blade and not a tree branch. The results: Lin Yi was overpowered by Jian Wushuang. The branch then went around the long sword before stopping on Lin Yi's chest. Chapter 2307 Initial Success in the Sword Doctrine Realm. Whoosh! Lin Yi took a few steps back after the branch collided with him before he steadied himself. After he regained his balance, he was stunned and speechless. I lost. Lin Taifeng, Zhui Yunfeng, and the other spectators were in disbelief. An expert in the peak chaotic realm, whose understanding of the sword doctrine was in the top 30 within the whole of Anzhou Prefecture, had lost to a kid who was only 12 years old and who used a branch in a duel. He had lost after one move. He was completely suppressed and had no way to fight back. Lin Yi's thoughts were disrupted. He knew that the sword skill that Jian Wushuang had just cast was indeed sword principle Bei Ming. However, the sword skill that Jian Wushuang had just used contained no essence at all. It was an ordinary, dull strike. And it was this very ordinary and dull strike that had defeated him. How did this happen? Lin Yi was confused. Just then, Lin Taifeng's face turned serious as he said, "That little one. That sword skill was not ordinary. On the contrary, it was extremely exquisite and skilled. Even though it seems ordinary, it was extremely complex. It's just that Jian Wushuang cast it in a clean and smooth way." Under normal circumstances, only those have reached a peak in their understanding of this sword principle Bei Ming could cast this sword skill in such a simple manner. Reach the peak? But Wushuang only saw Brother Lin Yi demonstrate this sword skill once 4 years ago. Back then, it also seemed that it was ordinary and simple when Wushuang did the drill. He watched it once and he managed to fully understand this sword skill? Zhui Yunfeng was surprised. It is highly likely. Lin Taifeng nodded his head. Lin Yi was completely speechless. It seemed like Jian Wushuang had understood the sword principle Bei Ming 4 years ago and had done the drill perfectly. Because Wushuang's understanding of this sword skill was far above Lin Yi's, Lin Yi thought that Jian Wushuang had not understood the essence of this sword skill. In reality, Wushuang's talent was far greater than he could ever imagine. Brother Zhua, if I am not wrong, your son has stepped into the sword doctrine realm and is at least at the initial success stage, Lin Taifeng said. Initial success in the sword doctrine realm? Zhui Yunfeng widened his eyes. Husband, Wushuang's understanding of the sword doctrine is so much deeper as compared to Lin Yi. He is only in the initial success stage of the sword doctrine realm? Luo Xinqin frowned as she asked. What do you think? The initial success in the sword doctrine realm that Brother Lin mentioned is the true sword doctrine realm. It is completely different from the normal sword doctrine everyone is talking about. With Brother Lin Yi's understanding of the sword doctrine, and being in the top 30 within the Anzhou Prefecture, he has yet to meet the criteria to break through into the sword doctrine realm. Zhui Yunfeng looked over at Zhuo Xinqin and said in a serious tone. Even Lin Yi has yet to meet the criteria necessary to enter the sword doctrine realm? Luo Xinqin was stunned. She was only in the chaotic realm. She was unlike Zhui Yunfeng and Lin Taifeng, who understood more about the division of power. Lin Yi, who she thought had a very good understanding of the sword doctrine, had yet to even meet the criteria to enter the sword doctrine realm. It is not easy to meet the criteria to enter the sword doctrine realm. There are countless experts in the sword doctrine within the Anzhou Prefecture. However, the number of these experts who are in the sword doctrine realm is limited, and Lin Yi is not one of them. As for initial success in the sword doctrine realm, it requires an even higher level of understanding of the sword doctrine compared to just meeting the criteria to enter the sword doctrine realm. As far as I know, There is only one person within the entire Anjou prefecture who has reached this level. That man was the previous head of the Zhuge family, Zhuge Yun. He has decided to shut himself off from the world. Zhuge Yun? Isn't he a chaotic divine demon? Does this mean that Jian Wushuang's understanding of the sword doctrine is comparable to a chaotic divine demon's? Luo Xinqin was surprised. Yes. And most chaotic divine demons who use the sword might not even have as deep of an understanding of the sword doctrine as Jian Wushuang. Lin Taifeng nodded his head heavily. Hearing this, Zhuo Yunfeng and Luo Xinqin sucked in a cold breath. Jian Wushuang had stayed quietly beside them for 12 years. They only found out today that their son's understanding of the sword doctrine was at such a level. Unrivaled in the sword doctrine. Looks like the name that Taoist priest Xian Shen gave Jian Wushuang was correct. Jian Wushuang being at initial success in the sword doctrine realm at the age of 12 is really incredible. I have never heard of anyone else who has achieved this, Lin Taifeng exclaimed. This brat. We cannot let his talent in the sword doctrine go to waste. We should send him into those powerful clans where he can develop properly. Zhuo Yunfeng clenched his fists tightly and thought to himself. Jian Wushuang walked over with Lin. Lin Yi was looking at Jian Wushuang as though he was a freak. Lin Yan, do not forget our bet. Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Yan and said. Lin Yan was already speechless. He had never thought that Jian Wushuang's understanding of the sword doctrine could be even deeper than that of Lin Yi. Was he really just a 12-year-old child? Lin Yan trembled slightly as he looked at his dad when he heard what Jian Wushuang said. Ha! Don't worry, little one. The people of the Lin family keep their words. If it is okay with you, you can even come with me back to the Lin clan. You can choose and read a wide variety of secret skills and martial arts skills within our library. Lin Tifeng laughed heartily. Oh! Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Brother Lin, you cannot do that. There are numerous secret skills within your family's library. Those were obtained through the blood and sweat of your ancestors. How can my son just go in and do what he likes? It is already an honor for him to get the sword principal's snow congelation from you, Zhuo Yunfeng said. Brother Zhuo. We are brothers. Furthermore, Wushuang is incredibly talented. If he is brought up well, he will be very successful in the future. I fear that the library in my house will be too small for my dear nephew, Lai Taifeng said. He was speaking the truth. Lin Taifeng was a chaotic divine demon and the head of the Lin family. He was like an overlord, but after seeing how talented Jian Wushuang was, even he was shocked and in disbelief. He knew that if he told the outside world what he had seen today, everyone would be shocked as well. Countless clans would fight over this kid who was so incredibly talented in the sword doctrine. The Lin family was only powerful within the prefecture. It was impossible for them to guide Jian Wushuang far. All he could do was try his best to help his dear nephew. Chapter 2308. Enter the Lin mansion, Brother Lin. I thank you for your goodwill. However, Wushuang is a very stubborn boy. I tried my best to send him into a clan so that he could get the best teachers. He always rejects my offer. Now that you want him to go with you back to the Lin mansion, Zhuo Yunfeng said. I will go to the Lin mansion, Jian Wushuang interrupted Zhuo Yunfeng and said. What? Zhuo Yunfeng was stunned as he looked at Jian Wushuang in disbelief. This brat. He had never wanted to leave the incineration moon city. What had happened to him today? Had he changed his mind? Ha! That is great. Lin Taifeng was elated. The Lin family would be honored if a kid as talented as Jian Wushuang would stay at their mansion for even a short period of time. How about this? We will celebrate your father's birthday tomorrow and we will leave the day after? Lin Taifeng said. No problem. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. The reason Jian Wushuang had agreed to go to the Lin mansion was not only because he could get access to the secret skills within their library, but he could also come back and visit any time he wanted to. He would not be able to do so if he joined a clan as there were many restrictions. Just like his older brother Zhuo Peng and his eldest sister, who he had never met before, they would only come back once in a while. However, he could leave the Lin mansion whenever he wanted to. Furthermore, the Lin mansion was closely located to the incineration moon city. Seeing that Jian Wushuang agreed so readily, Zhui Yunfeng was also happy. He was happy that Jian Wushuang was leaving home. Now that he was going to the Lin Mansion, even though the Lin Mansion was not as well known as some other clans, it was a big family and there was a system in place to train and develop disciples. It also had a lot of resources necessary for cultivation. Zhui Yunfeng believed that Jian Wushuang would not be treated unfairly given his close relations with Lin Tifeng. Jian Wushuang would be able to train and cultivate in a better environment. Everyone started preparing for Zhui Yunfeng's birthday celebration. The birthday celebration went smoothly and everyone was extremely happy. After the birthday celebration, Jian Wushuang left with Lin Taifeng for the Lin Mansion. Lin Mansion. The Lin family was one of the 6 top-tier families and had an extremely solid foundation. The Lin Mansion occupied thousands of square feet and it looked very majestic. Jian Wushuang entered the Lin Mansion under the guidance of Lin Taifeng. Lin Taifeng gave the order that Jian Wushuang could go enter the secret skill pavilion as he liked and could study any martial art skills or secret skills he wanted. Furthermore, they were planning to give Jian Wushuang 3 times the amount of resources that their core disciple had. A core disciple in the transformed god realm would get 1 god transformation elixir, but Jian Wushuang would get 3. There was a ruckus within the Lin Mansion when everyone found out the treatment Jian Wushuang was getting. Jian Wushuang lived in a well-designed house which only an important guest could stay in. Jian Wushuang sat on a stone bench at the center of the garden with a jade bamboo strip in his hands. The contents of the jade bamboo strip was a copy of one of the secret skills that Jian Wushuang had seen in the secret skill pavilion. It was Sword Principle's Snow Congelation. This sword skill can make even snow freeze in the air. There is a trace of space-time rules of order within this sword skill. Jian Wushuang smiled. The space-time rules of order was extremely complex and complicated. If one mastered this sword skill and had a good understanding of the space-time rules of order, everything in this world would freeze in place when this sword skill was used. This was an incredible sword skill. Even though this sword skill is good, I do not have the ability to learn it yet. However, I can learn many things just by studying it and applying it to the time-space sword principle. Jian Wushuang started to focus on the content on the jade bamboo strip. Before long, Brother Wushuang. A loud voice was heard as 2 figures stepped into the garden. Jian Wushuang looked up. One of the 2 was Lin Yan. After Jian Wushuang had defeated Lin Yan a few days ago by using purely his sword skills, Lin Yan had no longer been arrogant and had stopped trying to compete with Jian Wushuang. Lin Yan was a straightforward man. After getting close to Jian Wushuang, he had started to treat Jian Wushuang as a brother. There was a young girl standing behind Lin Yan. She was around 12 or 13 years old. She looked pale and yellow and seemed delicate. Without a doubt, she was pretty. Prince Yan, is something up? Jian Wushuang asked, his eyes fixed on the jade bamboo strip in his hands. Today is the day that the Lin Mansion gives out elixirs. I know that you will drown yourself in studying the sword doctrine, hence I have brought over the 3 god transformation elixir for you. Lin Yan opened his palm and Jian Wushuang saw 3 light purple elixirs. God transformation elixir? Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. To any expert in the transformed god realm, this elixir would be extremely useful as it would make it easier for them to accumulate divine power. However, Jian Wushuang had reincarnated. He was already at the level of a chaotic divine demon. All he had to do was accumulate divine power. The god transformation elixir was not very useful for him. After all, he was a perfect chaotic life form. The amount of spiritual influence of heaven and earth he required for each stage of his cultivation was far too much. Furthermore, the speed at which he absorbed the spiritual influence of heaven and earth was insanely fast. He could absorb equal amounts of divine power within the 3 god transformation elixir within 1 day. This elixir was almost useless for him. You wouldn't be so nice unless you have something to ask me, so what do you want me to do for you? Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Yan and said, You saw through my plan. Lin Yan gave an awkward smile. He pulled over the young girl and said, Brother Wushuang, this is my cousin. She is about the same age as you and practices the sword doctrine. She is facing difficulty in one of the sword skills she is practicing, hence, You want me to guide her? Jian Wushuang looked over and sighed. Yes. Lin Yan nodded his head before he said to Lin Qingqing, Cousin, tell Brother Wushuang about the problems you face. He can definitely solve them for you. Lin Qingqing knitted her eyebrows. She did not say anything and looked at Jian Wushuang with suspicion. Jian Wushuang was around the same age as her. How could one blame her for suspecting whether or not Jian Wushuang had the ability to guide her in her sword skills? Furthermore, even the experts in the Pure Sun realm and Chaotic realm within the Lin Mansion could not solve her problem. Chapter 2309. Guidance. Jian Wushuang noticed that Lin Qingqing was questioning his ability. Jian Wushuang did not mind and said, Which sword skill does she have problems with? Hazy Sword Principle, Lin Yan said. Do you have a copy of the Hazy Sword Principle? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes. Lin Yan brought out a jade bamboo strip. Jian Wushuang took the jade bamboo strip and started reading it. Lin Yan and Lin Qingqing stood to the side and waited. Brother Yan, he is the person you talked about that can solve the problem I face in my sword skills? Lin Qingqing asked softly. Yes, it's him. Do not underestimate him. Even though he is young, his understanding of the sword doctrine is incredible. If anyone in the Lin Mansion can solve this problem, it will be him. Lin Yan smiled. Really? Lin Qingqing was still suspicious. Lin Yan smiled and did not continue to explain himself. The people of the Lin Mansion knew who Jian Wushuang was, but only Lin Taifeng, Lin Yi and Lin Yan knew what he was capable of. Lin Yan knew that there shouldn't be anyone in the Anjiu prefecture who could compete with Jian Wushuang in their understanding of the sword doctrine, much less someone from the Lin Mansion. If even Jian Wushuang could not solve the problem Lin Qingqing had, there shouldn't be anyone in the Lin Mansion who could solve it. After half an hour, Jian Wushuang finally put down the jade bamboo strip. Show me your sword skills, Jian Wushuang said. Go, Qingqing, Lin Yan said. Even though Lin Qingqing was suspicious of Jian Wushuang, she still listened to Lin Yan and started doing a drill of the Hazy Sword Principle. Jian Wushuang smiled as he saw each style of the sword skill being performed by Lin Qingqing. Before long, Lin Qingqing finished the drill. She seemed more pale than ever and even started coughing slightly. Brother Wushuang, do you know what is wrong? Lin Yan asked. Yes. It is simple. She is not fit to cultivate this sword skill, Jian Wushuang said up front. Uncle Lin Yi told me this before. Looks like I have to give up on this sword skill and learn other sword skills. Lin Qingqing looked at Jian Wushuang and shook her head. It was obvious that she was trembling. She had been practicing the Hazy Sword Principle for 2 years and had put in hard work to reach where she was today. Of course, she would be greatly affected when she had to give it up. Jian Wushuang then smiled again. Actually, there is a way for you to not give up on this sword skill. Huh? Lin Qingqing looked over at Jian Wushuang, surprised. Brother Wushuang, stop keeping us in suspense. What is the solution? Lin Yan asked. The reason why the Hazy Sword Principle is not suitable for her is because 3 of the styles in this sword skills are too overbearing and deadly, which causes waves of violent aura. Your cousin is a delicate young girl. She has yet to toughen up and hone herself in the outside world. After she grows up and ventures out, she will be able to control the violent aura when she becomes a more resolute lady. Then she will be able to use this sword skill without any repercussions. Of course, she cannot do that now. All she needs to do is to stop practicing those 3 styles within the sword skill, then she will be all right. That is it. Lin Yan understood Jian Wushuang's explanation. Lin Qingqing was still suspicious of Jian Wushuang. Brother Wushuang, which 3 styles contain the violent auras? Lin Yan then asked. The 4th, 9th and 13th style, Jian Wushuang said. Qingqing, follow what Brother Wushuang said. Do a drill of the Hazy Sword Principle but leave out those 3 styles, Lin Yan said. Lin Qingqing followed her cousin's instructions. But this time, she skipped the 3 styles Jian Wushuang talked about. Soon, she finished the drill and stood there, shocked. She realized she was not hurt after leaving out those 3 styles. Were my problems really caused by those 3 styles? Lin Qingqing stared at Jian Wushuang and asked. Jian Wushuang then smiled and said, Now the problem is solved. Ha! Thanks a lot, Brother Wushuang. Lin Yan was overjoyed. Thank you, older bro. Lin Qingqing also thanked Jian Wushuang, but she did not finish her sentence. She wanted to call Jian Wushuang her older brother, but then she realized Jian Wushuang was younger than her. No problem. Just call him older brother. If he doesn't mind, even I will call him older brother. Lin Yan laughed. Jian Wushuang smiled and waved at both of them. The two of them left. Jian Wushuang dove right back into studying the sword skill he was holding. News of this incident soon spread among the higher-ups in the Lin mansion. The experts in the sword doctrine were stunned. Many of them had known of the problem Lin Qingqing had, but none of them had had any way to solve it. All they could do was to tell her to change to another sword skill. However, a 12-year-old kid had solved it? After they asked around, they were even more shocked when they knew that the 12-year-old kid was the famous Jian Wushuang. Many of these experts went to find Jian Wushuang for a duel. The results were even more shocking. Even though Jian Wushuang was young, his understanding of the sword doctrine was beyond their wildest expectations. Li Yi had the deepest understanding of the sword doctrine, and he was nowhere near Jian Wushuang's level. After these experts who cultivated the sword doctrine found out how incredible Jian Wushuang was, many of them put down their pride and asked Jian Wushuang for guidance. Jian Wushuang did not reject them. He was a guest in the Lin mansion. The Lin mansion treated him well by allowing him to browse any secret skills or martial arts skills that could be found within their library. These skills were very beneficial for Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang guiding these experts in the sword doctrine was his way of repaying the Lin family. Chapter 23. 10 Snow Cleave. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang had been staying in the Lin mansion for 3 months. In the house that Jian Wushuang was staying in, just as Lin Yan was about to enter the garden, 2 people walked out from inside. They were 2 experts in the chaotic realm. They were chatting as they walked. I had never thought that there could be an expert in the Lin mansion who would have such an incredible understanding of the sword doctrine. What is more amazing is that he is a child aged 12. Little friend Wushuang is really incredible. His talent in the sword doctrine is unmatched. Taoist priest Xian Xin is amazing. With this level of talent, he should be given 10 times the amount of resources of a core disciple. The 2 of them chatted casually. Lin Yan could hear what they were saying clearly. Both of you. Lin Yan smiled. Prince Yan. The 2 experts in the chaotic realm looked over and greeted. Did both of you seek Brother Wushuang's guidance in the sword doctrine? Lin Yan asked. Yes. Both of us have learned a lot from him, one of the experts said. Yes, a lot. The other man nodded his head in approval. Brother Wushuang is a guest here at the Lin mansion. He also needs to focus on his own cultivation. You can come and ask him once in a while, but please don't come and bother him consistently, Lin Yan said. Of course. We have already benefited greatly from a single session. How could we be greedy and want more? The 2 experts in the chaotic realm said. That's right. Carry on. Lin Yan waved his hands and the 2 experts in the chaotic realm left the place. Lin Yan then entered the garden that Jian Wushuang lived in. After he reached the garden, he saw Jian Wushuang stood in the middle of the garden with his eyes closed. He held an ordinary sword in his hands. Uncle Lin Yi, what is Brother Wushuang doing? Lin Yi asked softly. Looks like he is going to practice with a sword. Practice? Lin Yan raised his eyebrows. He realized that even though Jian Wushuang had been there for 3 months, he had only studied sword skills. He had never practiced at all. This was the first time Lin Yan had seen Jian Wushuang use a sword for practice. Lin Yan stood to the side quietly as he did not want to disturb Jian Wushuang. Spring was about to come and this was the last snow this winter. Snowflakes filled the entire sky as they fell to the ground slowly. The floor of the entire garden was already covered with snow. Jian Wushuang held a sword with one hand and stood at the center of the garden. He opened his eyes all of a sudden. Killing intent could be seen clearly in his eyes. The sword in his hand moved. He thrusted the sword out like a beam of light. It seemed like an ordinary thrust. However, ripples could be seen in the surrounding space. It was as though the space bent because it was so affected by the sword essence. In reality, it was not space which bent. It was space-time. Before the thrust landed, Jian Wushuang swung his blade out in a horizontal swing. This horizontal swing was the sword skill that Jian Wushuang was trying to cast. A sword light could be seen at the corner of his eyes. It was beautiful and stunning. People could lose themselves within it. Even though the sword light seemed extremely small, it filled the entire garden, including the space right in front of Jian Wushuang. As the sword light dimmed, peace returned to the garden. Jian Wushuang sheathed his sword. What sword skill was that? I am completely lost. Lin Yan knitted his eyebrows. He could not understand the essence of the sword skill that Jian Wushuang had just done. However, he could feel how terrifying the move was. Uncle Lin Yi, do you understand what just happened? Lin Yan looked over and Lin Yan asked. I could not understand it completely, but I realized something, Lin Yi said. What did you realize? Lin Yan asked. Have you not realized that the amount of snowflakes around our dear friend Wushuang has become more dense? Lin Yi said. Oh yes, that's true. What happened? Lin Yi asked curiously. If I'm not wrong, Wushuang sliced all of the snowflakes falling from the sky in half. This created the illusion that the snowflakes on the ground became denser. The sword light is incredibly powerful, and the snowflake is extremely frail. It will melt easily. However, he managed to slice all of the snowflakes in half without melting them. How incredible is his control of the sword essence and power of that sword skill? He is that incredible? Lin Yan widened his eyes in shock. That sword swing, that swing. Lin Yi clenched his fists and closed his eyes as the scene where the snowflakes were sliced in half played repeatedly in his mind. Uncle Lin Yi, what happened to you? Lin Yan asked. Do not disturb him, Jian Wushuang said as he walked over. It seems like he has managed to learn and understand something new. Learn something new? Lin Yan nodded his head and stood there quietly, waiting for his uncle. After a few minutes, Lin Yi opened his eyes. He looked extremely happy. He took a deep breath and bowed to Jian Wushuang before turning and leaving. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang smiled and said, Looks like the Lin family is finally going to have an expert who meets the criteria for the sword doctrine realm. Lin Yan also realized that Lin Yi was going to have a breakthrough in his understanding of the sword doctrine. That was why Lin Yi had left without saying anything. He was going into isolation to train. Brother Wushuang, what is the sword skill that you just cast? It looks foreign to me, Lin Yan said. That sword skill is called Snow Cleave. I created this style after fully understanding and mastering sword principle Snow Congelation, Jian Wushuang said. He had been studying the sword principle Snow Congelation for 3 months. He had managed to master this sword skill completely. He had created Snow Cleave after gathering the essence from sword principle Snow Congelation and combining it with the power of space-time. I finally created my own style in the space-time sword principle after I did the same for the reincarnation sword principle. Jian Wushuang smiled. His understanding of the space-time rules of order and reincarnation rules of order was profound. He had a better understanding of reincarnation rules of order due to the miniature reincarnation, which allowed him to create a style in the reincarnation sword principle. Samsara. Jian Wushuang had never been able to perfectly combine his understanding of the space-time rules of order and the sword doctrine to create a new sword skill. He had finally managed to do so today by creating Snow Cleave. Chapter 23:11 Taunting. In terms of sword principle, I have the sword principle Xian Luo that is capable of attacking and defending. In close combat fights, that would be sufficient. However, the sword principle Xian Luo is too ordinary. Although it could eliminate my weaknesses, I won't have much of an advantage either. Therefore, I have to create the most appropriate ultimate move for killing. The space-time sword principle and reincarnation sword principle could perfectly infuse the rules of order. I can follow through with it to the very end. Jian Wushuang had plans for his own sword principles. Long ago, when he was still in the eternal chaotic world, he had thought of taking the paths of time-space sword principle and reincarnation sword principle. However, he had barely gotten in touch with the space-time doctrine and reincarnation doctrine and had not reached the level of the rules of order. Although he had come out with several sword principles, they weren't infused with the rules of order. And now, Wu Yu had left those sword principles aside completely. Instead, he had combined rules of order with the sword principles perfectly in his creation. When he had been in Eternal Chaotic World, he had made a breakthrough in Reincarnation Sword Principle and come out with Samsara. Now that he was in Absolute Beginning Divine World, the birth of Snow Cleave gave him a foundation in Spacetime Sword Principle. Regardless if it was the Spacetime Sword Principle or the Reincarnation Sword Principle, I have created the first move. Moving ahead, it would be constant improvements together with the ordinary sword principle Xian Luo. Only then could I really move towards perfection in my sword principle, Jian Wushuang mumbled to himself. Moving ahead, I have to work harder. Jian Wushuang continued his silent sword cultivation in the Lin Mansion. Time passed quickly. Soon, Jian Wushuang was 16. He had been in the Lin Mansion for over 3 years. In his room, Jian Wushuang sat on his bed with his legs crossed. The 16-year-old Jian Wushuang no longer had the childlike features of his youth. Instead, he looked cooler and handsome. As for his appearance, he had intentionally made himself look similar to how he had been in his previous life. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes abruptly. At that very moment, a dense and powerful divine power emanated from his body. Middle stage Pure Sun Realm. Just as expected, without a limitation on the realm, all I need is to accumulate divine power. This has made cultivation a lot quicker, Jian Wushuang mumbled with a faint smile. Pure Sun Realm was the equivalent of the real God stage in the Eternal Chaotic World. As for middle stage Pure Sun Realm, it was the same as the second stage of Real God, the Eternal Real God. He wasn't too far away from the Chaotic Realm. Judging from this speed, in another 4 years or when I'm 20, I should be able to reach the Chaotic Realm. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. The Chaotic Realm still wasn't his previous pinnacle. Now that he had reincarnated as a perfect chaotic life form, once he returned to the Chaotic Realm, his fighting power would be substantially stronger. Furthermore, once he reached the Chaotic Realm, he could also start cultivating some secret skills he knew in the Eternal Chaotic World. He would also be qualified to start with the few secret skills that his master, Xin Yi, had left in his mind. At that time, he would likely stand at the top of the Anjiu Prefecture. No hurry. One step at a time. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. All of a sudden, he was alarmed. The extended soul power had detected people walking towards the room he was in. Jian Wushuang walked out of the room instantly. Brother Wushuang. From afar, Jian Wushuang could see Lin Yan approaching. Lin Qingqing was following him. Jian Wushuang could see a tinge of bloodlust gleaming in the eyes of Lin Yan. What happened? Why are you looking so furious? Asked Jian Wushuang. In the 3 years that he had spent in Lin Mansion, Lin Yan had often paid him visits. After several encounters, they had become quite close. Although Jian Wushuang still didn't see Lin Yan as a brother he could go through life and death with, he did see him as a friend. He was also the first friend he had made in Absolute Beginning Divine World since he reincarnated. Brother Wushuang, I would like to ask for your help, Lin Yan said solemnly. Help? Jian Wushuang raised an eyebrow. Speak. What happened? It's the Zhuge family. They are here with their number 1 figure of the younger generation, Zhuge Hong. This guy constantly provoked the disciples of our Lin Mansion and even announced he wants to challenge every single one of the younger generation in Lin Mansion. Lin Yan was fuming as he spoke. Jian Wushuang understood instantly. A conflict within the younger generation. Zhuge family and Lin family were both among the 6 elite families in Anjiu Prefecture. Moreover, they had always been sworn enemies. Conflicts were common throughout the year. This wasn't limited to just the higher management. Conflicts and fights between younger generation disciples were equally common. However, going to the Lin Mansion directly to taunt was probably a little overboard. What's the matter? Isn't there anyone in the younger generation that is a match for Zhuge Hong? Asked Jian Wushuang. Lin Yan's expression changed a little and he answered, Brother Wushuang, I'll be frank here. Zhuge Hong isn't ordinary. Not only is he exceptionally talented, he also entered the Dongzhou sect at a young age as a core disciple. His master is a very powerful and frightening chaotic divine demon that isn't any weaker than the commandery governor of Anjiu Prefecture. Under the tutelage of his master and grooming of Dongzhou sect, Zhuge Hong's strength isn't something that the disciples of our Lin Mansion can match. Even though I wouldn't like to admit it, I have to say I'm not just a notch weaker than him. Since you can't defeat him, just bear with him. Or perhaps you could ask the higher management of your Lin Mansion to teach that Zhuge Hong a lesson, Jian Wushuang said nonchalantly. In his previous lifetime, he had lived for close to 100,000 years in the eternal chaotic world. He had seen far too many conflicts between families and even sects and were numb to them. Since the younger generation disciples weren't a match, they could only bear with them. Finding help externally wouldn't be a wise decision. Jian Wushuang had no intention of being implicated in the long conflicts between the two families. This was because he wouldn't be helping Lin Mansion. Rather, he would be doing harm. If they couldn't win, enduring was their only option. When they made improvements, they could find their pride. That was what big families should do. If Zhuge Hong was just taunting, we could just put up with him. However, he went over us over and over again. More importantly, he even humiliated Qingqing in the past. Lin Yan gnashed his teeth as the bloodlust surrounding him intensified. Oh! Jian Wushuang was taken aback. He took a glance at Lin Qingqing and saw she was looking extremely bitter. Brother Wushuang, Qingqing was only able to continue practicing the hazy sword principle because of your guidance. Subsequently, Qingqing followed your instructions to have more trials in the outside world. However, Qingqing suffered a blow in a recent trial. She was severely injured and a Lin Mansion's disciple that accompanied her even died. At that time, the Lin Mansion's disciple wanted to escape and look for help for Qingqing. Qingqing was severely injured then and that was the only option. Chapter 23:12 sounding oh, by the time Qingqing came back with help, that disciple was already dead. This left Qingqing extremely remorseful and she blamed herself for the incident. We had a hard time helping Qingqing get back on her feet. However, Zhuge Hong brought up the incident today again. He even humiliated Qingqing directly and accused her of abandoning her comrade. In the end, Qingqing cried. Lin Yan said coldly. Jian Wushuang took a glance at Lin Qingqing. His impression of her had always been of a gentle and adorable girl. However, he could now see signs of crying. From her eyes, he could tell she was still carrying strong guilt and self-hatred. It isn't just that. For Qingqing, those who know about the incident have never told others about it. There weren't any other people around then either. Logically speaking, no one should know about it. Yet, Zhuge Hong knew. Coupled with the fact that I heard Zhuge Hong happened to be in the vicinity then. If I'm right, they were probably aware Qingqing was in danger then. Furthermore, there's a high chance that this was the doing of Zhuge Hong. As he spoke, killing intent oozed from Lin Yan. Brother Wushuang, although Qingqing isn't my biological sister, she's even closer to me than a real one. I only blame myself for being incapable and unable to teach Zhuge Hong a lesson for Qingqing. I could only come to seek help from you. Jian Wushuang was also moved. Regardless of the taunts thrown out in a quarrel between the younger generation, they could be explained as a fit of anger. However, exposing one's wound in the public and piling on insults, and even resorting to unscrupulous means would be a little much, Jian Wushuang remarked. All right, I'll go take a look with you. Great. He's at the drill ground in our Lin Mansion. Let's hurry there. Lin Yan perked up with joy. Soon, with Lin Yan taking the lead, Jian Wushuang arrived at the drill ground. The drill ground was congested with a large number of younger generation disciples. Also, many Lin Mansion experts had gathered there. In front of these experts, an unruly young man in a black robe was standing there. He had a mocking smile across his face while looking at the crowd from Lin Mansion disdainfully. Although there were numerous Lin Mansion disciples and experts, they didn't amount to anything in his eyes. Jian Wushuang could tell that the young man in the black robe was Zhuge Hong. However, he wasn't paying attention to Zhuge Hong. Instead, he was staring at an old man in a gray robe behind Zhuge Hong. The old man in the gray robe was squinting his eyes and had hidden his aura perfectly. Nonetheless, Jian Wushuang could tell with a single glance that this was a true chaotic divine demon. Chaotic divine demon would definitely be experts at the top of the pyramid in Anzhou Prefecture. The divine demon expert is following Zhuge Hong personally, and yet he has showed no intention of stopping Zhuge Hong. Rather, he appears to be doing so on purpose. Jian Wushuang smiled gently. Lin Yan, if I got it right, Zhuge Hong's purpose isn't simply taunting the younger generation disciples. He is most likely trying to sound you guys out. Sound us out? What do you mean? Lin Yan was puzzled. Lin family has always been in conflict with the Zhuge family. The hatred between both sides runs deep, and both parties will want to annihilate the other completely. The only shame is that none of the parties have the absolute strength needed to crush the other. But now Zhuge family is probably thinking of taking action against your Lin family. Therefore, they sent Zhuge Hong over. He looks like he was just provoking you guys, but, in fact, he's trying to sound out the strength of your Lin family, explained Jian Wushuang. Even so, how is he going to do that? Lin Yan was still confused. He definitely couldn't do so alone. However, did you notice the old man in gray robe behind him? That gray-robed old man is a chaotic divine demon. It is just that he is great at hiding his aura and did not attract the attention of others. Zhuge Hong is acting so arrogantly now. If the younger generation disciples can't stop him, the experts will then be needed. Once an expert shows himself, the gray-robed old man will make a move instantly. His ultimate objective is to force the chaotic divine demon in the Lin mansion to step in, Jian Wushuang said. Divine demon? That old man is a chaotic divine demon? Lin Yan was astounded. Damn it. My father suffered serious injuries when he fought another chaotic divine demon more than a decade ago. He hasn't recovered fully from it yet. As for the other chaotic divine demon of our Lin family, he has been roaming the outside world for a long time and has yet to return. If the Zhuge family take actions now, that must be it. Zhuge family definitely knows about your family's predicament. His trip this time was definitely to force your father into stepping out so they could assess how much strength your father still possesses. Or perhaps they are trying to find out if the chaotic divine demon that is out has returned. Once they get an answer, the Zhuge family will definitely make a move, said Jian Wushuang. He had lived close to 100,000 years in his previous lifetime and had seen countless situations. He could see through Zhuge family's plot with a single glance. This won't do. I have to inform my father immediately, Lin Yan said. That's not necessary. Your father had probably seen through the motives of the Zhuge family. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Through his soul power, he could sense that Lin Taifeng and the three half-step divine demons of Lin family had hidden together. It seems like the family head of Lin family has no intention of revealing his current fighting powers. Instead, he probably intends for the three half-step divine demons to intercept the other party. However, with just three half-step divine demons, they will likely not be able to stop that gray-robed old man. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Divine demon and half-step divine demon might seem really close, but the difference was enormous. Moreover, Jian Wushuang could tell that the gray-robed old man wasn't an ordinary chaotic divine demon. He was definitely powerful. It wouldn't have been realistic to expect just three half-step divine demons to hold up against the gray-robed old man. In the end, Lin Taifeng would likely have to step in to knock him back. If that were the case, the other party would be able to tell how much strength Lin Taifeng had left. Brother Wu Shuang, what should we do? Asked Lin Yan. Simple. I just have to step in and dispatch Zhuge Hong. As long as a younger generation disciple can defeat Zhuge Hong directly, that gray-robed old man won't have an excuse to make a move. Their attempt this time won't achieve their objectives. However, if this is the case, I will probably be implicated in the conflicts of the two families, said Jian Wushuang. Brother Wushuang, this? Lin Yan furrowed his brows. It's all right. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and chuckled. Your father and mine are brothers of life and death. If Lin family is in danger, my father will definitely not sit back and do nothing. He would definitely step in and I too would be implicated. Since the outcome is the same, there's nothing to worry about. Let's go. All right. Lin Yan nodded his head heavily before walking forward with Jian Wushuang. Chapter 23:13 Using the finger as a sword. When the crowd saw Lin Yan, the smile on Zhuge Hong deepened. Isn't this the young master of Lin Mansion? So the representative of the younger generation in Lin Mansion is finally willing to show himself. Zhuge Hong mocked. Zhuge Hong, you were just relying on your identity as the core disciple of Dongzhuo sect. What's there to be cocky about? I just like to. So, are you not happy about it? If you aren't, we can just have a fight here. It isn't that I'm belittling you. However, when it comes to trash like you, I wouldn't even be bothered if 3 to 5 of you guys teamed up, Zhuge Hong sneered. Lin Yan was infuriated, but there was nothing he could do. At this moment, Jian Wushuang finally spoke. To deal with someone like you, there's no need for Lin Yan to do it himself. It was then that Zhuge Hong noticed Jian Wushuang. Judging from his appearance, Jian Wushuang would at most be 15 or 16 years old. At this age, Zhuge Hong wasn't concerned about him. Lad, who are you? Zhuge Hong asked solemnly. I'm just a sword boy under Lin Yan, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Sword boy? Lin Yan and the crowd from the Lin Mansion were astounded. Lin Yan especially. Back in Incineration Moon City, he had had the intention to take Jian Wushuang on as his sword boy. However, after a quick fight, Jian Wushuang's understanding of sword principle had far exceeded his imagination. This had dispelled his thoughts of doing so. Over this period, Jian Wushuang had remained in the Lin Mansion and was absolutely a distinguished guest. Many experts in Lin Mansion who specialized in sword principle held utmost respect for him. In fact, they even sought guidance from him often. How could he be a sword boy? However, since Jian Wushuang had said so, no one could say otherwise. A meager sword boy, and yet you dare to be rude before me? Scram. Zhuge Hong berated. Young Master Lin Yan is of exceptional status. He isn't someone that an average Joe can challenge at will. If you want to challenge him, you should at least be able to defeat me. If you aren't even a match for me, it'd be better for you to scram first, Jian Wushuang laughed. That's right. If you don't even dare to fight with a sword boy, you aren't qualified to challenge young Master Yan. Zhuge Hong, I think it would be better if you just run along back home. The majority of the crowd from Lin Mansion knew about Jian Wushuang's identity and started chiming in. Zhuge Hong was furious and his expression turned icy cold. He glanced at Jian Wushuang and said, All right, let me teach you a lesson first before crushing your young master. Upon hearing Zhuge Hong, Jian Wushuang raised an eyebrow. Although Zhuge Hong was rather talented, he was too young. To put it bluntly, he lacked experience. Young Master Yan, how would you like me to teach him a lesson? Jian Wushuang whispered. That goes without saying. Humiliate him utterly. The more ruthless the better. Lin Yan gritted his teeth. All right, I'll just crush his confidence and make him doubt himself forever, Jian Wushuang answered. Lin Yan was astonished but still nodded. All right, but be careful. Although Zhuge Hong has a crude personality, he is strong. Moreover, there are rumors that he's exceptionally close to the Pure Sun Realm. Close to the Pure Sun Realm? Jian Wushuang chuckled. Nope. He's already at the Pure Sun Realm. What? When he said the words, it wasn't just Lin Yan who was shocked. Everyone in Lin Mansion was astounded as well. As for Zhuge Hong, he glanced coldly at Jian Wushuang and commented, Your eyes are pretty sharp. When he finished his words, Zhuge Hong no longer attempted to conceal his power. His divine power and aura rose to the level of a Pure Sun Realm rapidly. Pure Sun Realm. He's really at the Pure Sun Realm. Oh gosh, isn't Zhuge Hong just 20 years old? A 20-year-old Pure Sun Realm? The crowd at Lin Mansion was astounded. The spiritual influence of heaven and earth was too dense in the absolute beginning divine world. Cultivators that were born in this environment would naturally have greater talents. Even so, a 20-year-old Pure Sun Realm was an exceptionally rare talent. He would be considered a top-class talent in the entire Wuxia Baron region, let alone the Anjiu Prefecture. It was not surprising that Dongzhuo sect would place such a high emphasis on Zhuge Hong. Is Pure Sun Realm that incredible? Jian Wushuang's indifferent laughter sounded. Immediately after, a divine power that was no weaker than Zhuge Hong's started rising around Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was undoubtedly at the Pure Sun Realm as well. What? How could this be possible? This time, even Lin Yan and many others who knew Jian Wushuang were stupefied. Jian Wushuang was just 16 years old. A 16-year-old at Pure Sun Realm. Brother Wushuang, how did you cultivate so quickly? 3 years ago, when I first saw you in Incineration Moon City, I was the same realm as you. Lin Yan mumbled. What he didn't know was that in order to not draw the attention of people, Jian Wushuang had only revealed the strength of early-stage Pure Sun Realm. However, he had already reached the middle-stage Pure Sun Realm. As a perfect chaotic life form, Jian Wushuang didn't require the divine power of a Pure Sun Realm to deal with a small lad like Zhuge Hong. Even with ordinary transformed God's cultivation base, he could defeat him easily. However, he would appear to be too insane then. Facing an early-stage Pure Sun Realm with early-stage Pure Sun Realm would be the best. Thanks. I did not expect the Lin Mansion to have a cultivation talent. However, even if you could match me in cultivation base, it wouldn't matter. One's cultivation base wouldn't be a complete representation of one's fighting powers, Zhuge Hong snorted. As he flipped his palm, a faint purple saber appeared in his hand. The blade was extremely thin and had an eerily cold vibe. Lad, show your weapon, shouted Zhuge Hong. Weapon? Jian Wushuang tittered. The next instant, he lifted his right hand and stuck out his index finger. Against you, all I need is a finger. Brazen. Zhuge Hong was infuriated. Even the crowd of Lin Mansion was staring at Jian Wushuang, feeling awestruck. Although he was comparable in cultivation base, Zhuge Hong came from Dongzhou sect and had a powerful master. The various secret skills and means he possessed weren't what the Lin Mansion disciples could compare with. This was especially so for his compelling saber skills. It was said that he had a grasp of the saber principle. Yet, Jian Wushuang hadn't retrieved his sword and wished to fight with just a finger? Was that possible? Many Lin Mansion doubted. However, those who truly knew Jian Wushuang's understanding of sword principle could understand. It was especially so for the powerful experts in Lin Mansion who specialized in sword principle. Lin Yan was one of them. In the past, Jian Wushuang had defeated him easily with just a branch. He had even done so against Lin. Now, using a finger as a sword against the insignificant Zhuge Hong wouldn't be a challenge. Chapter 23:14 Crush, Brat, since you want to die, I'll grant your wish. Intense bloodlust rose from Zhuge Hong. Just come at me with all you got. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang was still maintaining a gentle smile. He even taunted Zhuge Hong by wiggling his index finger intentionally. Zhuge Hong darted forward instantly. Intense divine power surged from all parts of his body as he morphed into a bolt of lightning. The bolt of lightning shot out abruptly and left afterimages on the drill ground. How quick! This speed is insane. Several Lin Mansion disciples couldn't help but exclaim. That ferocious bolt of lightning reached Jian Wushuang in no time, and Zhuge Hong slashed down his faint purple saber towards Jian Wushuang. The saber glow was eerie and about to split Jian Wushuang into two. Just before the saber glow was about to connect, Jian Wushuang took a step out. At the same time, he lowered his stance slightly and swung up his finger in momentum. A simple swing carried with it immense secrets which no one on the field could decipher. However, they could see Jian Wushuang was intending to use his index finger to clash with Zhuge Hong's saber. How bold! Watch how I sever your hand off. Zhuge Hong berated and increased his strength in his saber skills. The next moment, Jian Wushuang's right index finger clashed with that eerily cold saber glow. The surrounding crowd was staring deadly. Most of them believed Jian Wushuang's finger would be sliced off by that eerie saber in the clash. However, they heard sounds of metal clashing instead. Zhuge Hong was astonished and felt a barbaric and powerful strength exerted on him. The next moment, something unbelievable happened before everyone. That eerie faint purple saber cracked upon contact with Jian Wushuang's right index finger and eventually broke into two. How is this possible? Zhuge Hong stared in disbelief. Although his saber wasn't some frightening divine weapon, it was a true terrestrial treasure with high value. Its toughness was easy to imagine. Using all his strength, he clashed with Jian Wushuang's index finger directly. In the end, Jian Wushuang's index remained unscathed, but his saber had cracked and broken? What kind of joke was this? Just as Zhuge Hong was still reeling in shock, Jian Wushuang swung his finger once again. This swing triggered some unique energies in the space and easily break through Zhuge Hong's defense. The next instant, Jian Wushuang's index finger was on Zhuge Hong's chest. Immense divine power shot out and pierced Zhuge Hong's chest, leaving a bloodied wound. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang didn't go for the kill. Otherwise, this strike would definitely have extinguished Zhuge Hong's life completely. Zhuge Hong spat out blood and flew back like a kite that was not held back by a string. The gray-robed old men, who had been behind him all along, dashed ahead and caught Zhuge Hong. "You have lost." Jian Wushuang stood on the drill ground and said nonchalantly. Silence shrouded the drill ground. Death-like silence. After some time, the crowd in the drill ground finally reacted to it. "What? We won. Isn't Zhuge Hong supposed to be incredible? How did he get defeated so easily then?" Using a finger as a weapon, Zhuge Hong's terrestrial treasure weapon was crushed in a single tap. In the next tap, Zhuge Hong was severely injured. This, strong, too strong, terrifyingly strong. The shocked gazes of the crowd gathered on Jian Wushuang. Even those experts of Lin Mansion were incomparably astounded. Some of them knew Jian Wushuang had an extremely high understanding of sword principle and might be able to defeat Zhuge Hong. However, they had never expected Jian Wushuang would crush Zhuge Hong so utterly. Even Lin Yan was dumbfounded. Previously, he was still reminding Jian Wushuang to be careful. Now, that was just a hilarious act. Although Zhuge Hong was powerful, he was nothing before Jian Wushuang. As compared to the astonishment and joy of Lin Mansion, Zhuge Hong, who was defeated by Jian Wushuang, was dazed. His eyes were empty and couldn't believe what had happened. Indeed, he had never expected Jian Wushuang to defeat him before the battle, let alone crushing him so utterly. He was a true talent that even the Dongzhuo sect had high regard for. This made him extremely prideful, and he had always looked down on some cultivators of his age. But today, the pride in him was ruthlessly trampled by Jian Wushuang. Just like what Jian Wushuang had said to Lin Yan, he was going to crush Zhuge Hong's confidence and make him doubt himself forever. And now, Jian Wushuang probably succeeded. Before the watchful eyes of the crowd, the prideful and arrogant Zhuge Hong was crushed by Jian Wushuang. Moreover, Jian Wushuang was using his finger as a sword and broke his weapon with a single tap. This made him realize the humongous gap between them that could never be bridged. More importantly, Jian Wushuang was younger than him. Much younger. This made it harder for him to accept. A blow like this was undoubtedly huge for Zhuge Hong. With this blow, Zhuge Hong's future would likely be affected unless he could find back his confidence within a short period and stood back up. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang might even become the heart demon that he could never shake off in this lifetime. That young master of the Zhuge family had probably snapped when he couldn't accept the fact he had lost to me so completely. For his good, it would be best if you bring him back as soon as possible. Jian Wushuang looked at the gray-robed old man and said with a faint smile. The gray-robed old man gloomed upon hearing. However, seeing the empty eyes of Zhuge Hong, he knew this attempt to sound out Lin Mansion couldn't continue. The most pressing thing to do was to send Zhuge Hong back and help him regain his consciousness. Without hesitation, the gray-robed old man carried Zhuge Hong and left. Before he left, he even looked daggers at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt helpless over this. He knew he would definitely be dragged into the conflict between the Zhuge family and Lin family after he stepped in this time. In fact, that gray-robed old man and Zhuge Hong might even pay more attention to him. However, he didn't mind. After all, his father, Zhuge Yunfeng, had a close relationship with the Lin family. There was no way he would stay out of this. Different situations call for different actions. I have even faced 3 masters of Holy Land. An insignificant Zhuge family is nothing compared to a master of Holy Land. Jian Wushuang chuckled. Chapter 23:15 Lin Mansion. When the gray-robed man left with Zhuge Hong, everyone in the Lin Mansion crowded over. Brother Wushuang, that's amazing. Lin Yan was overjoyed. Brother Wushuang, I'm impressed. Really impressed. You really live up to your name. Today's a good eye-opener for all of us. Zhuge Hong could be considered an elite class talent in the entire Anzhou prefecture or even the Wuxia Baron region. Yet, the difference between him and you is larger than one would expect. Many experts from Lin Mansion joined in praising, expressing gratitude or even paying respect to Jian Wushuang. Although Jian Wushuang was just 16 years old, the strength he displayed in the battle against Zhuge Hong was something that no one in the field would overlook. Moreover, his potential was even greater. Everyone, you guys are too courteous, Jian Wushuang also responded with a smile. Bush, 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 bush. Several figures landing on the drill ground. They were none other than Lin Taifeng and the 4 half-step divine demons who had remained hidden and watched over the entire series of events. When they saw Lin Taifeng, the experts and disciples of Lin Mansion shut their mouths instantly. Nephew Wushuang. Lin Taifeng walked to Jian Wushuang and said, "We have troubled you this time. If it wasn't for you, the Lin Mansion would be utterly embarrassed." "It was just a simple act," replied Jian Wushuang. "Ah, your simple act did help my Lin Mansion greatly. If I'm not wrong, the Zhuge family was probably trying to sound out the strength of our Lin Mansion today. Or rather, they are trying to find out the extent of my recovery. If you did not defeat Zhuge Hong and let him press the issue, I would most likely be forced to step in." Jian Wushuang kept his smile. He knew Lin Taifeng would be able to see the true intentions of Zhuge family since he could be the family head. "All right, Wushuang, I saw you broke Zhuge Hong's weapon with just your finger. Zhuge Hong's weapon was most likely a terrestrial treasure. Yet you are able to break it. Considering that both of you are at similar cultivation bases, I guess your understanding of sword principle has probably reached the level of great achievement?" Lin Taifeng turned to Jian Wushuang abruptly and asked, "Great achievement in sword principle?" Several Lin Mansion experts who specialized in sword principle had now turned to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang only responded with a casual smile and didn't answer directly. However, his smile could be seen as a wordless sign of consent. "Just as I expected." Seeing Jian Wushuang did not mention otherwise, and Lin Taifeng was astounded. He was able to tell from the battle previously. In the absolute beginning divine world, the classifications of one's cultivation base, weapons, elixirs and various aspects were different from those in the eternal chaotic world. In the eternal chaotic world, the most powerful weapon was just Chaos Divine Treasure. However, Chaos Divine Treasure was just a blurry concept. Many experts that stood at the top of the eternal chaotic world owned Chaos Divine Treasures. Yet their might differed greatly. Together with the immense restrictions of heaven and earth, even those great emperors that stood at the pinnacle would find it hard to maximize the real strength of some Chaos Divine Treasures. It was also because of that the classification of Chaos Divine Treasures was blurry. However, the classification of weapons in absolute beginning divine world was much clearer and defined. There were ordinary weapons, terrestrial treasures, heavenly treasures, divine treasures, and others. Terrestrial treasures were already hard to come by. Even chaotic divine demons would be extremely interested in them. However, Jian Wushuang was able to forcefully destroy a terrestrial treasure class saber with just the strength of his finger. This would only be possible if he possessed an extremely frightening sword essence. That sword essence was something that couldn't be found in those with only initial success in sword principle. It was because of that Lin Taifeng believed Jian Wushuang had likely achieved great achievement. And for great achievement in sword principle, not a single person in Anzhou prefecture had reached this level. This lad's talents in sword principle are truly astonishing. Lin Taifeng thought to himself. "Uncle Lin." Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Taifeng and said, "I have been troubling you and the Lin family for more than 3 years. It's about time and I should be returning to Incineration Moon City." "You are going back?" Lin Taifeng furrowed his brows. The surrounding crowd, including Lin Yan, Lin Yi, and many experts were also shocked. If it was possible, they would of course want Jian Wushuang to remain in the Lin Mansion. With an expert that had achieved great achievement in sword principle to guide cultivators that specialized in sword principle, it would be even better than having a chaotic divine demon guiding them. However, they also knew Jian Wushuang wasn't from the Lin Mansion after all. He was just a guest that resided in the Lin Mansion temporarily. Now that Jian Wushuang wished to return to the Incineration Moon City, they naturally wouldn't have any reason to stop him. "I've been away from home for too long and I should be heading back," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "All right." Lin Taifeng didn't plan to get him to stay. "In that case, it's already late today. I'll get Lin Yi to send you back personally the next morning." "Thank you, Uncle Lin." Jian Wushuang turned to Lin. "You are being too courteous," Lin Yi responded warmly. Soon, Jian Wushuang returned to his room and started packing. Although Lin Mansion was in chaos when Zhuge Hong arrived, peace returned after Zhuge Hong left. Soon the night fell. In a luxurious restaurant of a city that was a short distance away from Lin Mansion, an old man in a gray robe was standing in the room with his hands behind his back. "Your Honor, this is the information from the Lin Mansion." A man in a silver robe entered the room and handed the gray-robed old man a jade bamboo strip. The gray-robed old man took a quick glance at it as his murky eyes suddenly lit up. "It's him!" The gray-robed old man mumbled to himself before waving his hand. "You may take your leave first." The man in the silver robe bowed and left the room. The gray-robed old man brought the jade bamboo slip to the inner room of the restaurant. Zhuge Hong, who had been defeated by Jian Wushuang in the Lin Mansion previously, was sitting in the room. "This is the information we got from Lin Mansion. You can take a look." The gray-robed old man handed the jade bamboo strip to Zhuge Hong. Although he was a chaotic divine demon and definitely an elite expert or overlord class existence in Anzhou Prefecture, he was still rather humble before Zhuge Hong without any pretension. He wasn't from the Zhuge family and obviously wasn't a senior family member to Zhuge Hong. However, he was from Dongzhou sect and had been arranged by Zhuge Hong's master to be here. His objective was to make things easier for Zhuge Hong. By this point, Zhuge Hong had recovered his vitality. However, he still looked a little defeated and down. Clearly, the battle had been an overly huge blow to him. His pride and confidence had been ruthlessly trampled, and it would have been difficult for him to recover immediately. Nonetheless, he still took the jade bamboo strip and glanced at it. Chapter 23:16 Eliminating early. After a quick look through the contents of the jade bamboo strip, the demoralized and defeated Zhuge Hong jumped up abruptly. "It's him! It's him! No wonder he could defeat me so easily. So he's that Jian Wushuang." Zhuge Hong clenched his fist tightly and his body shivered with anger. The contents on the jade bamboo strip were undoubtedly the identity and origins of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's identity wasn't a secret in Lin Mansion. The Zhuge family and Lin family had been competing for many years. It was only natural they had some spies in the Lin Mansion. All they needed was to mobilize them a little to find out. Zhuge Hong also understood Jian Wushuang wasn't just some sword boy of Lin Mansion but the famous unparalleled talent in sword principle in Anzhou Prefecture. Zhuge Hong finally felt enlightened. At the same time, the defeated looks had vanished completely. For him, if he lost so utterly to an ordinary sword boy, the blow would undoubtedly be huge. In fact, he might not ever recover from the mental devastation. However, if he was defeated by an exceptional talent, there would be nothing to feel down about. Jian Wushuang was undoubtedly an exceptional talent. When I first came to Anzhou Prefecture, I heard about Jian Wushuang as well. All along, I wasn't concerned about it and thought that the others were just exaggerating things. Now, it would appear that he is indeed extraordinary to be able to break your terrestrial treasure saber with his finger when both of you are at the same cultivation base. His understanding of sword principle might have reached the level of great achievement. In Anzhou Prefecture, it is unlikely that there will be anyone who is a match in this aspect. Even the previous family head of Zhuge family, Zhuge Yun, wouldn't be, said the gray-robed old man. That is to be expected. Jian Wushuang had his name given personally by Taoist priest Xian Xin, answered Zhuge Hong. Taoist priest Xian Xin? The gray-robed old man was baffled. Elder Qin, you have always been in Dongzhou sect and just arrived in Anjiu Prefecture. It's expected that you aren't aware of Taoist priest Xian Xin. However, he was extremely famous in Anjiu Prefecture in recent years. He's a mysterious expert with unimaginable abilities. Although I have not seen him, I have heard about him. My father and many experts in the Zhuge family have the utmost respect for Taoist priest Xian Xin. In fact, even the strongest man in Anjiu Prefecture, the commandery governor, is reverent and respectful before him. In fact, some even said the commandery governor wishes to follow Taoist priest Xian Xin, even if it was to be a servant. It is just that Taoist priest Xian Xin has rejected him, said Zhuge Hong. Oh, the gray-robed old man was astounded upon hearing Zhuge Hong. He knew about the commandery governor of Anjiu Prefecture, and he was rather well known in the Wuxia Baron region. That was an elite divine demon and much stronger than him. In Dongzhou sect, those who could possibly match up to him could be counted with a single hand. An elite divine demon like him would willingly be a servant to Taoist priest Xian Xin? From this, it was easy to tell how amazing the Taoist priest Xian Xin was. Taoist priest Xian Xin is a man of great capabilities and might be an elite in the absolute beginning divine world, and yet he visited Jian Wushuang's family and gave Jian Wushuang his name personally. There's no way Jian Wushuang would be a pushover. There's nothing to feel bad about in losing to him, remarked Zhuge Hong. It's great that you are able to get over it. Elder Qin finally heaved a sigh of relief. Previously, he had been worried that Zhuge Hong would never get back up on his feet. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Zhuge Hong's master when they returned to Dongzhou sect. Now, this wouldn't be necessary. Get over it? Zhuge Hong snorted. I have to admit my talents aren't as great as his. However, this doesn't mean I will let him trample over me. He humiliated me before the watchful eyes of the crowd and foiled our Zhuge family's plan. There's no way I will let him off easily. Moreover, his father is the governor of Incineration Moon City. From what I know, Zhuge Yunfeng and the family head of Lin Mansion, Lin Taifeng, are brothers of life and death. They are extremely close. Once our Zhuge family start a war with the Lin family, Zhuge Yunfeng will definitely extend the greatest help he can. As for Jian Wushuang, he will definitely become an enemy to our Zhuge family. An enemy who is widely deemed to be unparalleled in sword principle and has exceptional talents should be removed as soon as possible. Elder Qin nodded his head and agreed. From what he had displayed earlier in the day, Jian Wushuang's potential was unquestionable. Even a talent like Zhuge Hong was several levels below him. For a super talent like him, it would be best to form good relationships with him. However, if he was on the opposing side, it would be best to eliminate him before he fully grew up. Didn't our intel say that Jian Wushuang would be leaving Lin Mansion for Incineration Moon City tomorrow? That would be the opportunity, said Zhuge Hong. Could it be you are thinking of intercepting and killing him on his way back to Incineration Moon City? Elder Qin looked over. Can't we do that? That's plausible. However, I couldn't do it personally. Now that we have stirred up a storm in Lin Mansion, the Lin family will definitely be able to tell. Moreover, despite the fact that we have left Lin Mansion, we are still in the vicinity. The Lin Mansion has definitely dispatched experts to watch us in the dark. All our actions will likely be seen by their eyes. Therefore, if we want to make a move, we can only arrange for other experts to do it, Elder Qin analyzed. This won't be an issue. Zhuge family still has some experts that we can mobilize within our territory. I will send my family head a message now to dispatch a batch of experts immediately. After all, there will only be a peak chaotic realm escorting Jian Wushuang back to Incineration Moon City. It would still be easy to kill him with just this level of protection. Soon, Zhuge Hong sent a message to the family head of Zhuge family. When the family head of Zhuge family received the message, he could sense the immense potential of Jian Wushuang as well. Similar to Zhuge Hong, he would want to eliminate this threat as soon as possible. Therefore, he started preparing immediately. The next morning, Jian Wushuang was ready to move on from the Lin Mansion. Brother Wushuang, I'll go look for you in Incineration Moon City soon, Lin Yan said. That's not necessary. Most likely, I'll be in Lin Mansion before you know it, Jian Wushuang replied with a smile. He was speaking the truth. Since he had deciphered almost all the secret skills and secret manuals in Lin Mansion, there was nothing left that he would miss about this place. However, Lin family would have a battle with the Zhuge family soon. His father would definitely extend a helping hand then. It would be obvious that Jian Wushuang would follow along. Great. I wish you a pleasant journey, Lin Yan remarked. After waving goodbye, Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi headed towards Incineration Moon City under the eyes of numerous Lin Mansion's experts. Chapter 23:17. Targeted with heaven's will in control, the space of absolute beginning divine world was a lot more stable than the eternal chaotic world. When he was in eternal chaotic world, releasing all his powers without restraints would easily destroy an area and space of 100,000 to 1 million miles. In the absolute beginning divine world, unless you were a supreme expert that stood above it all, it wouldn't be that simple to destroy the world. Obviously, with the space being so stable, it would be harder to open up a wormhole. As such, many places in absolute beginning divine world didn't have a wormhole. For example, Anjiu Prefecture. Only a few ancient sects within the Wuxia Barren region might have some wormholes. Therefore, cultivators in absolute beginning divine world would often have to travel on their own or rely on some flying-assisted treasures like flying ships. From Lin Mansion to Incineration Moon City, it wasn't too far. Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi were running throughout. With their speed, it would probably take 10 days for them to reach Incineration Moon City. On the journey, Uncle Lin Yi, how long have you been out of closed-door practice? Jian Wushuang asked casually. It has been 3 months since my cultivation base stabilized, answered Lin Yi with a smile. 3 years ago, Lin Yi was struck with inspiration after seeing Jian Wushuang demonstrating the snow cleave. Immediately after, he had gone into seclusion until 3 months ago. He had made a breakthrough in sword principle and would be classified as reaching the minimum threshold. Congratulations. If I'm correct, you now probably have the fighting strength equivalent to a half-step divine demon, right? Asked Jian Wushuang. Not exactly. A half-step divine demon isn't just about one's understanding of weapons. It also requires more concentrated divine power. More importantly, I will have to grasp some rules of order. It isn't that easy to grasp some rules of order. Lin Yi sighed emotionally. However, Jian Wushuang didn't feel the same way. With heaven's will controlling the absolute beginning divine world, the rules of heaven and earth were extremely dense and couldn't be compared with the eternal chaotic world. In the eternal chaotic world, grasping some rules or order would be truly difficult. It would still be relatively easy to do so in the absolute beginning divine world. Nonetheless, it wasn't an easy task either. My little friend, Wushuang, I have you to thank for this breakthrough. If it wasn't for your guidance previously, I wonder how much longer I would have taken to reach the minimum threshold of sword principle. Lin Yi was sincerely grateful and behaved extremely humbly before Jian Wushuang. He was from the same generation as Jian Wushuang's father and had an extremely good relationship with him. Interactions with Jian Wushuang's father were like those of equals. However, when he was before Jian Wushuang, he was more like a junior. The main reason why you can reach the minimum threshold for sword principle is because of your hard work and ability to grasp concepts. However, don't get too overjoyed just yet. The threshold of sword principle is only the beginning to the path of swords. The sword principle is deep and profound. The road ahead is still long. I can understand. However, I don't have that ambition. My only goal would be to be like you, reaching great achievement in sword principle. That would be sufficient for me. However, I wonder how long it will take with my talents to reach that level. Perhaps I might not reach it in this lifetime, Lin Yi sighed. He wasn't a demon-like talent at sword principle like Jian Wushuang. Reaching great achievement in sword principle would be an extremely high level for him. As for Jian Wushuang, he had attained that level at just the age of 16. As long as you are willing to work hard, you will reach it, answered Jian Wushuang. Both of them were chatting along the journey. Just when they were crossing a mountain range, Jian Wushuang stopped abruptly and squinted his eyes. What's the matter, pal? Lin Yi looked over, feeling baffled. Uncle Lin Yi, It seems like it won't be easy for us to reach Incineration Moon City safely, said Jian Wushuang. What do you mean? Lin Yi furrowed his brows. We are being targeted. Upon hearing this, Lin Yi was astounded. He upped his vigilance immediately and spread his soul power out without reserve. Just as expected, at the deepest point of the mountain range, there were several extremely faint auras. Noticing that they had been discovered, the owners of these auras didn't attempt to hide further. Bush, 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 bush. 5 figures shot up into the sky and appeared before Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi. Among the 5, 3 were men while the rest were women. All of them had varying levels of aura. Jian Wushuang was able to tell the strength of these 5 people by just extending his soul power through them. Among the 5, 4 were chaotic realm, of which 2 were middle stage chaotic realm and the other 2 were early stage chaotic realm. There weren't any at the chaotic realm. Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi weren't concerned about these 4 at all. However, the red-haired old lady with a dragon head truncheon had an especially strong aura. This aura was the level of a half-step divine demon. Because of her, Lin Yi looked extremely gloomy. Who are you guys? Why did you block us off? Lin Yi asked loudly. Uncle Lin Yi, that's not necessary. All 5 of them must be from the Zhuge family, said Jian Wushuang. Zhuge family? Lin Yi turned solemn. When I defeated Zhuge Hong yesterday, I expected the Zhuge family to come looking for me. I just didn't expect them to act so quickly, Jian Wushuang mumbled. Lad, you are pretty smart. However, you got something wrong. We aren't from the Zhuge family. We are just helping them, the red-haired old lady answered. This was the territory controlled by the Lin family, after all. Although the Zhuge family had lots of experts within their territories, it was still a little hard to mobilize experts that could definitely kill Lin Yi and Jian Wushuang. Therefore, the Zhuge family had paid a price to hire the red-haired old lady. So that's how it is. I know all half-step divine demons of the Zhuge family and yet didn't recognize you, so you aren't from the Zhuge family, Lin Yi said coldly. You should know who we are. If you work for Zhuge family today, you will offend Lin family completely. Our Lin family will definitely hunt you down and there won't be a place for you in Anjiu Prefecture anymore. Why don't you guys stop here and be friendly with our Lin family? Lin family knew the threat of the 5 people before him. Therefore, while sending a message to Lin Mansion requesting reinforcements secretly, he was trying to convince the red-haired old lady to stop. Even if he couldn't convince her, he wanted to buy as much time as possible. Stop here? Wishful thinking. I have taken benefits from the Zhuge family and am here at their request. It's only natural that I keep my word. As for how your Lin family will want to pursue us in the future, we aren't from the Anjiu Prefecture to begin with. After this, we will leave Anjiu Prefecture for good. Your threats do not mean anything to us at all. Therefore, you 2 can just sit tight and wait for your deaths obediently. Chapter 23:18. Ambush. Therefore, you 2 can just sit tight and wait for your deaths obediently. Her cold voice reverberated in the air. Just as she finished her words, the red-haired old lady pointed the dragon head truncheon towards Jian Wushuang and Lin. Despite being at a distance, a dense stream of devilish aura gushed out from the dragon head truncheon. The devilish aura filled the atmosphere and morphed into a giant demonic dragon in the blink of an eye. The demonic dragon was entirely black and emanated a frightening aura. It let out a deafening roar before rushing towards Jian Wushuang and Lin. Before the demonic dragon approached, a stifling pressure swept across Jian Wushuang and Lin. Jian Wushuang was unmoved. He had seen too many half-step divine demons in his previous lifetime. Now that he was facing one again, he was still as calm as ever despite not recovering fully. However, Lin Yi wasn't able to be as composed as Jian Wushuang. Damn it! Lin Yi cursed. Before the demon reached him, he drew the sword from his back. Powerful sword essence erupted into the sky. Since he had reached the minimum threshold of sword principle, Lin Yi's sword essence was clearly way stronger than before. Lin Yi took a big step forward and swung his sword decisively, just like a streak of sword light that was about to split the heavens. The strike was blurry but had unwavering dominance. In the next instant, he struck the head of the giant demonic dragon. Demonic mist tumbled around the demonic dragon. Despite having a powerful aura, it was split into two by the sword light and dissipated into the atmosphere. The red-haired old lady with the dragon head truncheon was astonished and turned to the other 4 chaotic realms. Didn't your Zhuge family say the one escorting the lad was an ordinary peak chaotic realm? Yet he sliced my demonic dragon in a single strike. His strength is probably not any weaker than a half-step divine demon's. This, the 4 chaotic realm experts couldn't answer at that moment. From the intelligence gathered by the Zhuge family, Lin Yi was indeed an ordinary peak chaotic realm. Although his sword principle was pretty good, it wasn't too extraordinary. However, just like the red-haired old lady had said, he was really strong. It looks like our Zhuge family's intelligence was erroneous. Although Lin Yi was much stronger than we expected, he shouldn't be beyond the range your honor could handle, right? One of them asked. Yeah, I can still handle him, but the difficulty is a lot higher. The promised remuneration has to increase by 30%, said the red-haired old lady. 30%? The 4 chaotic realm experts turned solemn. However, after communicating with their consciousness, they nodded their heads in unison. As long as your honor is willing to stick to your end of the deal, 30% should be acceptable. Alright, leave Linny to me. However, you guys will have to finish off Jian Wushuang personally, the red-haired old lady said. Not a problem, the 4 chaotic realm experts agreed decisively. They only found Lin Yi to be a slight issue. As for Jian Wushuang, a mere pure sun realm wasn't something that would bother them. Once they had reached an agreement, the red-haired old lady made the first move. You are Linny? To be able to slice my demonic dragon in a single strike, you are pretty strong. However, even if you can slice one, can you deal with 5? The red-haired old lady stared at Lin. Divine power surged from her and an intense devilish aura gathered. Soon, 5 demonic dragons had formed. Shit! Lin Yi was flabbergasted. His all-out strike could destroy a demonic dragon. However, he had to deal with 5 at the same time now. Lin Yi was plunged into exceptional danger instantly. Pal, run away now! Lin Yi shouted. Sword essence surged as he charged towards the 5 demonic dragons. Powerful sword light flickered as Lin Yi tackled the 5 demonic dragons. However, it was clear that Lin Yi was in an absolutely disadvantageous position. He would be able to barely keep himself alive and couldn't possibly care for Jian Wushuang at this juncture. He only hoped Jian Wushuang would be fortunate to escape from this. What he had never expected was that Jian Wushuang wouldn't attempt to flee at all. When he heard Lin Yi shouted, Jian Wushuang remained rooted to the ground. Bush, 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 bush. The 4 chaotic realm experts from the Zhuge family had already surrounded him. Seeing that Jian Wushuang remained unmoved, they scoffed. Brat, are you so afraid that you have become dumb? Lin Yi ordered you to flee immediately, and yet you choose to remain behind? Although you have frightening talents, you are still too young and haven't been through many ordeals. In a life and death situation, you have become paralyzed in fear. It's good that way. You will have a quicker death and won't suffer as much. The 4 chaotic realm experts chatted casually and weren't concerned by Jian Wushuang at all. However, what they didn't notice was when they were mocking Jian Wushuang, contempt was gleaming in Jian Wushuang's eyes. That half-step divine demon expert is held up by Uncle Lin. There isn't even a peak chaotic realm among the 4 of them. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He wasn't silly and he wasn't paralyzed in fear. In his previous lifetime, he had been through numerous setbacks. In the most pressing danger, he could still remain calm while searching for a glimmer of hope. His current encounter wouldn't even have been considered a small wave. The reason why he didn't heed Lin Yi's advice to flee at the first instance was because only 4 chaotic realms weren't qualified to make him flee. In the air, Jian Wushuang stood peacefully. He flipped his palm and a red sword appeared in his hand. The sword was 4 feet long and didn't have a sheath. The red body made it look as though it was submerged in fresh blood. When it appeared in Jian Wushuang's hand, it instantly attracted the attention of the 4 chaotic realms. This is... They stared at the sword. At first glance, the long sword looked ordinary. However, it seemed to have been to hell and back. Corpses were scattered everywhere and the sea of blood was vast and boundless. Great sword? That's definitely a terrestrial treasure. Moreover, it's a peak terrestrial treasure or even a heavenly treasure. Without a doubt, this was a stunning killing sword. This sword was none other than the Blood Mountain Sword, the sword that had descended from the sky when Jian Wushuang was born. Chapter 23 19-1 Strike. Old pal, it's been a long time since I last fought with you. Jian Wushuang ran his fingers through the body of the Blood Mountain Sword while feeling the icy cold sensation from it. The Blood Mountain Sword was the closest comrade Jian Wushuang had ever had. Although it had only been 16 years since he had held the Blood Mountain Sword and gone on a killing spree, it felt like a lifetime. The difference of a lifetime was undoubtedly long. Now that Jian Wushuang had taken out his Blood Mountain Sword again, it symbolized that the infamous Sword Emperor of the previous lifetime was about to use his Reaper Sword once again. As for the Blood Mountain Sword, it could also pick up the killing intent from Jian Wushuang that it had been missing for a long time. The body of the sword started trembling violently. Thanks. Although this kid is still young, he has a pretty good sword. I heard when this kid was born, a divine sword descended with him. It was also because of that the name he was given suggested he would be unparalleled in swords. That divine sword that descended with him is probably the one he is holding on to currently. Such an incredible sword in the hands of a pure Sun Realm kid would be such a waste. It's better for it to be with us to show its true might. To prevent unexpected events from happening, let's kill him right now. Kill! After a short conversation, all four of them struck at the same time. Logically speaking, they were all at the chaotic realm while Jian Wushuang was just at the pure Sun Realm. Any one of them could have easily killed Jian Wushuang. Yet they had chosen to strike at the first instant together. This was because they wouldn't want to give Jian Wushuang even the slightest opportunity. Moreover, they coordinated well. One of them was using a saber and was like the embodiment of the god of thunder as he charged towards Jian Wushuang with flickering lightning surrounding him. Another one used a black spear. Through the emptiness of space, he silently lunged towards Jian Wushuang's head. A girl was using a red long whip that moved like a giant python and was circling around Jian Wushuang swiftly. The most stunning of them all was a burly bald man. As he pushed out his palm, a giant hand formed that shrouded the space before Jian Wushuang. They had completely cut off any path of escape for Jian Wushuang. The next instant, the saber sliced open Jian Wushuang's body. That black spear penetrated Jian Wushuang's skull. That long red whip crushed Jian Wushuang's body. And the final large palm from the burly bald man destroyed everything that Jian Wushuang had been using initially. Everything was so smooth and fluid. However, the four chaotic realm experts that struck felt something wasn't right. This was because all of them could feel their attacks weren't connecting with a material body. Unknowingly, Jian Wushuang had appeared in the middle of the quartet. In the same space, Jian Wushuang utilized space-time rules of order and arrived in the middle of the quartet silently. The next moment, Jian Wushuang struck with his Blood Mountain Sword. Wang! As the sword moved through, ripples reverberated through the surrounding space as though something heavy was being thrown into a calm lake. The swing from Jian Wushuang was like a heavy object while the surrounding space was like a peaceful lake. A sword glow lit up the space and intoxicated the rest. It was just a small ray of sword light, and yet the entire space was shrouded in it. For a moment, time and space seemed to have stopped. It was as though the four figures were frozen solid and not moving an inch. Jian Wushuang put away his sword slowly and walked through the quartet without taking a look back. At this very moment, the frozen quartet was filled with fear. It wasn't that they didn't want to move. They couldn't have even if they wished to. Moreover, they could feel a sharp pain in their necks. From there, blood started flowing out. A thin, minuscule sword mark had been left on their necks. However, this sword mark had neatly sliced through their necks. The quartet could clearly feel their vitality slipping rapidly from their bodies. Before death, they were filled with astonishment and disbelief. When Jian Wushuang walked out of the middle of the quarter, for heads flew off. In a single strike, the 4 chaotic realm experts from the Zhuge family had been killed. At the other end, Jian Wushuang could hear angry roars from time to time. Those were from the 5 demonic dragons. The 5 demonic dragons were extremely powerful, and just one of them was sufficient to suppress a peak chaotic realm. When the 5 of them coordinated, even half-step divine demon would have to go all out against them. Lin Yi's fighting strength was just barely comparable to a half-step divine demon's. After an intense battle, he had crushed one of the demonic dragons relying on his sword principle. However, he had also suffered some injuries while battling the demonic dragons. As for the red-haired old lady with the dragon head truncheon, she stood in the air. When Lin Yi was battling the demonic dragons, she would search for opportunities to attack. Lin Yi's injuries had been caused by her directly. Although both of them were in battle, they were also paying attention to the situation at the other end. Lin Yi was initially flabbergasted when he saw Jian Wushuang not heeding his warning to leave at the first instant. There was nothing he could have done. Subsequently, Lin Yi felt despair when he saw the Chaotic Realm Quartet strike decisively towards Jian Wushuang with their killer moves. He had not thought Jian Wushuang would have any chance of survival under the besiegement of the Chaotic Realm Quartet. Just as the thought went through his mind, the tiny and intoxicating sword light illuminated the space. That strike, Lin Yi was completely mesmerized by Jian Wushuang's strike. He could tell from a single glance that the strike was the snow cleave that Jian Wushuang had created 3 years ago. He had only gained enlightenment and made a breakthrough in his sword principle after seeing it go into cultivation in seclusion for 3 years. This strike was definitely the most amazing and mysterious that Lin Yi had ever seen. It wasn't just him. Even that red-haired old lady was mesmerized by that strike. The next instant, something unbelievable happened before the red-haired old lady and Lin. After that single strike, the Chaotic Realm Quartet from Zhuge family couldn't put up a struggle at all and had their heads severed directly. Impossible! A strange light glittered in the eyes of the red-haired old lady as she stared deadly at Jian Wushuang. How could this have happened? Lin Yi was stupefied. He would admit Jian Wushuang's sword principle was exceptionally amazing and no one in Anzhou Prefecture was a match for him. However, regardless of how incredible his sword principle was, he was merely a pure sun realm. Chapter 23:20. Water Fairy Island. A pure sun realm had killed 4 chaotic realms in a single strike? Was this possible? Who would believe it if someone told others? However, that had really happened before his eyes. Moreover, the Chaotic Realm Quarter wasn't just at the early stage Chaotic Realm. 2 of them were at the middle stage Chaotic Realm. As for Jian Wushuang, he was just at the middle stage Pure Sun Realm and not even the peak Pure Sun Realm. The difference in realms was so huge and yet he could swiftly kill them? Lin Yi and that red-haired old lady couldn't believe their eyes. However, Jian Wushuang was able to do it so easily and casually. After he killed the Chaotic Realm Quartet, he was still casual and composed. For him, killing 4 chaotic realms was indeed nothing. When he was in the eternal chaotic world and before he had completed his perfect chaotic life form, he had been able to rely on the uniqueness of being an inverse cultivator to challenge and even kill chaotic realm as an eternal real god. And now that he had been reincarnated into a perfect chaotic life form, he was even more frightening than an inverse cultivator. Moreover, his understanding of the rules of order, sword principle and many other aspects were way beyond the ordinary chaotic realm. As such, killing an ordinary chaotic realm was just like a walk in the park. Even if he were to face a true peak chaotic realm, he would stand a good chance. In the air, Lin Yi and the red-haired old lady had stopped. Both of their gazes were fixed on Jian Wushuang. Ha! Jian Wushuang. I finally understood why the Zhuge family would pay such a high price to kill you. At such a young age, your understanding of swords is already so deep. You are even able to easily kill chaotic realms when you are just a pure sun realm. If such a demon-like talent like you were given time to grow, the entire Anzhou Prefecture or even the entire Wuxia Barren region would be trampled under your feet. In fact, you could even go beyond the Wuxia Barren region to a more glamorous region. For you, reaching Divine Demon was a given. As for going beyond Divine Demon and becoming an undying saint, you probably have a high chance as well. It is not surprising why the Zhuge family would feel uneasy about having such a talent standing against them. The red-haired old lady laughed coldly while staring fervently at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was indifferent and didn't take in a single word from the red-haired old lady. As for Lin Yi, he was awestruck. Previously, he had known that Jian Wushuang had extremely high talents and great potential. Now, he felt he had only seen the tip of the iceberg. The potential that Jian Wushuang had displayed was even greater than any talent he was aware of. Just like the red-haired old lady had said, becoming a divine demon was a given for Jian Wushuang. He also had a high chance of becoming a superpower existence of undying saint, the level beyond divine demon. Looking across boundless absolute beginning divine worlds, an undying saint would be considered a top-notch expert. Jian Wushuang, I'm here this time because of Zhuge family's invitation to kill you. However, after seeing your talents, I have changed my mind. The red-haired old lady stared at Jian Wushuang and said, "Truth be told, my name is Yen Ke and am from the Water Fairy Island." Water Fairy Island? Lin Yi was astonished. Jian Wushuang also lifted his head to glance at the red-haired old lady. Jian Wushuang knew about the Water Fairy Island. Although large families were the most common in the Wuxia Barren region, ancient sects were numerous as well. Moreover, these sects were extremely powerful and controlled large areas in the Wuxia Barren region. Misty Rainsword Pavilion, which Shui Yunfeng wanted Jian Wushuang to join, and Dongzhou sect, which Zhuge Hong was in, were both rather strong sections. However, they were miles apart from Water Fairy Island. Water Fairy Island was definitely one of the most elite sects in the Wuxia Barren region. In fact, they would be ranked in the top 10 among the numerous sects of Wuxia Barren region. It was said that there was more than 200 chaotic divine demon in Water Fairy Island. As for experts beyond that level, they were more than a few of them as well. A powerful sect like this was definitely feared by various families in the Wuxia Barren region. I have heard of Water Fairy Island, but what does it have to do with me? Jian Wushuang's eyes were still as cold as ever. I told you about my background because I wouldn't want such an absolute talent to be killed here. Therefore, I would like to give you an opportunity. If you are willing, follow me back to Water Fairy Island and I'll personally refer you. With your talents and potential together with my referral, it will be more than sufficient to get you a slot as a core disciple of Water Fairy Island. If you are lucky, our island master, or even those elders that are above the chaotic divine demon level might want to take you as their disciples, said Yen Quebec. She had indeed come to kill Jian Wushuang. She had also taken the benefits from the Zhuge family. However, the potential that Jian Wushuang had displayed had aroused her interests. It wasn't that she was appreciative of talents, but because she knew clearly if she could refer a talent like Jian Wushuang into Water Fairy Island, the experts in Water Fairy Island would definitely reward her handsomely. These rewards would be way more than what Zhuge family had promised her. You wanted to kill me moments ago and now you want me to join the Water Fairy Island? You definitely changed quickly. However, the meager Water Fairy Island isn't qualified for me to join. Jian Wushuang was cold and didn't hesitate for a moment. Jian Wushuang, you have to think this through. Even if it wasn't for your future, you would have to consider your current predicament. Following me back to Water Fairy Island will be your only chance of survival. Otherwise, Yen Ke squinted her eyes. Otherwise? Truth be told, I'm really not interested in your Water Fairy Island. As for you, a meager half-step divine demon is nothing before me. I don't feel that my current situation is perilous. On the other hand, you should think about how you are going to get out, Jian Wushuang said coldly. The Chaotic Realm Quartet from the Zhuge family has died. It will be your turn next. Arrogant. Yen Ke was infuriated. Jian Wushuang, you only killed some Chaotic Realm trash. Do you really think that's incredible? Forget it. I've allowed you to live and yet you reject me. Don't blame it on me. A stifling killing intent emanated from Yen Quebec. She was finally going to use her full strength. Chapter 23-21. Execution. From the beginning, although Yen Ke had made his move as well, he had only suppressed Lin Yi with his demonic dragon. But as a genuine half-step divine demon that had already understood some rules of order, he had more up his sleeve. Finally, Yen Ke was giving it his all. Little Wushuang, watch out. Half-step divine demon experts are strong, Lin Yi reminded him. Lin Yi had some grudges. Why couldn't Jian Wushuang simply agree to Yen Ke's request? From Lin Yi's perspective, many geniuses are rushing to join big sects like the Water Fairy Island. But Jian Wushuang had discarded the opportunity. During such a crisis, if he had agreed, there would have been no more trouble. But now, they had to go against a half-step divine demon expert giving his all. We can only hope that the Lin clan experts reach us in time. Lin Yi clenched his fists. He had already transmitted for help when they were intercepted, but reinforcements needed time to arrive. A half-step divine demon is indeed strong, but with my own powers and the help from little Wushuang, we should be able to hold on, Lin Yi thought. But at that moment, Jian Wushuang looked at Lin. Uncle Lin Yi, I cannot handle a half-step divine demon, I'll leave it to you. Leave it to me? Lin Yi was stunned and thought, if you knew you couldn't handle him, why were you so arrogant? Jian Wushuang naturally knew what Lin Yi was thinking, and smiled. Don't worry. Is only a half-step divine demon. With your abilities, you can kill him easily. Lin Yi was even more furious. Killing a half-step divine demon? Easy? What a joke. Jian Wushuang whispered something. Uncle Lin Yi won't listen to me, just demonstrate your deadliest sword move. Lin Yi looked at Jian Wushuang, confused, unaware of his motives. He only wanted to tangle with Yen Ke for a while longer while reinforcements came. He needed to preserve divine power. But Jian Wushuang wanted him to use his strongest sword move? He had his doubts, but he made a decision and chose to listen to Jian Wushuang. Let's try it then. If I can't fight it, I can still escape, and it is Jian Wushuang that will die. Lin Yi hesitated no more. A powerful sword essence swept the area as the shapeless sword essence formed a huge sword essence storm. Lin Yi was at the center of that storm, turning into a sharp sword himself. The swordsmanship had not been performed yet, but the sword momentum was there. Lin Yi squinted his eyes as he looked extremely cold. The void around him turned chilly. Such a great sword essence, I'll be strong, Jian Wushuang smiled. He could feel that Lin Yi's sword move was going to be extraordinary, and thus he made preparations as well. Jian Wushuang did not move, and nor did his blood mountain sword, but in his mind, a great soul power was precipitating. After reincarnation, even though Jian Wushuang had had to retrain his cultivation base, his soul was intact. His soul was not damaged, and its power was still at chaotic realm pinnacle levels, perhaps even half-step divine demon. As long as his cultivation base was restored to chaotic divine demon levels, his soul power would ascend accordingly. Half-step divine demon's soul power was being mobilized by Jian Wushuang. In the void, Lin Yi's sword was finally formed and charged. A bright sword light could be seen, so glaring and dazzling people could not help but close their eyes. The move was so powerful it could have split the earth. After it left Lin Yi's hand, the sword cut through the void and appeared in front of Yen Quebec. The huge sword essence storm followed the sword light as well. It was a powerful sword. From Jian Wushuang's perception, it was as strong as a half-step divine demon's full blow. It should have been easy to kill peak chaotic realm experts, but not half-step divine demons directly. At least to Lin Yi, his direct blow could not do much. Yen Ke laughed in disdain as he saw Jian Wushuang make his move as well. A firefly like you dares to contend with the light of the sun? Yen Ke said coldly, and released his divine power, preparing to destroy Lin Yi's sword. But at that moment, Jian Wushuang in the void had a sudden murderous intent in his eyes. Soul's secret skill, 3 divine lights. Shio. A golden beam completely precipitated from soul power and rushed over at an incredible speed. The golden beam was murky, no one could have spotted it if one did not look closely. It was demonstrated slower than Lin Yi's sword, but before the sword struck, the murky sword light had already struck Yen Quebec. The soul power within that golden beam struck Yen Ke's soul directly. Yen Ke was a half-step divine demon with strong soul power, but without any precautions, his soul was deeply hurt as well. Ah! A painful scream was let out by Yen Ke as the divine power he had gathered now dissipated. Yen Ke's eyes were in a frenzy, hands over his head. It was obvious that the person was in great pain. Yen Ke was no longer able to dodge Lin Yi's sword light. The terrifying sword light struck Yen Ke's holy body without obstruction. Yen Ke was a half-step divine demon, but without demonstrating any ways to block it, it was impossible to block such a terrifying sword directly. Yen Ke's holy body blasted open and started collapsing. After a moment, the half-step divine demon from Water Fairy Island was dead. Chapter 23-22 His words, "Dead? He's dead?" Lin Yi froze there completely. He could not believe that the half-step divine demon Yen Ke had died under his sword. No matter how strong his sword was, the half-step divine demon expert could not have stood there and simply absorbed the hit without any resistance. But that had just happened. It's a soul attack. Yen Ke was stuck with a terrifying soul attack, and it came from. Lin Yi looked at Jian Wushuang. It was because Jian Wushuang's soul attack had immobilized Yen Ke, giving him the opportunity to kill him. How? Little Wushuang is only a pure sun realm. How did he manage to do such a terrifying soul attack? Lin Yi was shocked. What he did not know was that Jian Wushuang was indeed a pure sun realm expert in terms of cultivation base, but his soul power was stronger than that of a peak chaotic realm like him. A sudden golden light scripture from the three divine lights performed by Jian Wushuang was what caught Yen Ke by surprise. It's a pity that the soul-swallowing pearl did not follow me through reincarnation. If not, that soul attack would have done much more than injure, Jian Wushuang said quietly. In his previous life, his soul attacks had been extremely powerful and had had his soul-swallowing pearl to complement it. The soul-swallowing pearl was powerful and had helped with Jian Wushuang's soul attacks immensely. Unfortunately, when his master had sent him down the reincarnation passage, only his soul, the Blood Mountain Sword, and the Mountain River map had followed. Even now, he had no clue where the Mountain River map was. Other treasures like the 5-gem armor, the soul-swallowing pearl, the 5-fire godly spirit mirror and more, were all left back at the eternal chaotic world. Uncle Lin, Yen Ke's dead, but he's a half-step divine demon after all. Check the Qian Kun ring, Jian Wushuang said. Qian Kun ring? Lin Yi's eyes lit up. A half-step divine demon from a big sect like the Water Fairy Island was bound to possess lots of treasures. But Lin Yi frowned immediately and said, "Little Wushuang, I did not do much in killing Yen Quebec. It was your soul attack. The items in Yen Ke and the other 4 chaotic realm experts' Qian Kun rings should belong to you." "No, I'm only a pure sun realm. I cannot kill a half-step divine demon. Yen Ke was killed by you only. The other 4 as well, you understand, Uncle Lin Yi?" Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Yi right in the eyes. Lin Yi understood what Jian Wushuang was trying to do. Jian Wushuang did not want too much attention. After all, a pure sun realm taking down 4 chaotic realm experts with 1 sword, and seriously injuring a half-step divine demon with 1 soul attack, would bring attention not only from Anjiu Commandery but from the entire Wuxia Baron region. Jian Wushuang had already gained much attention within the Anjiu Commandery for his name. If word of what had just happened spread, countless experts would have their eyes on him. "Understood, I know what to do. I won't spill a word about what happened today. Even if the Lin family head asks, I'll insist I did it alone," Lin Yi said. Jian Wushuang had helped his sword principal achieve a breakthrough previously. Lin Yi was grateful to Jian Wushuang. He knew that Jian Wushuang was in a tough spot, of course, and he would help Jian Wushuang wherever he could. "Thank you, Uncle Lin," Jian Wushuang smiled. 4 Yen Kes and the other 4 experts' Qian Kun ring, the items inside all belong to you. If I could have some elixir that boosts divine power, or some natural treasures, that would be great. "No problem," Lin Yi nodded. Immediately he searched through the Qian Kun rings. He sorted them out with Jian Wushuang. Experts from big clans like the Water Fairy Island Yen Ke indeed possessed much richer treasures. There were 3 nature treasures in total. Lin Yi was elated upon its discovery, but Jian Wushuang could not have cared less. Jian Wushuang only wanted the elixirs that improved divine power. Soon they sorted out the treasures. "Little Wushuang, let's wait, the reinforcements will arrive soon," Linny said. "Okay," Jian Wushuang nodded. They waited quietly along the mountain range. Shio, shio, shio. Countless flowing lights arrived at amazing speeds and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi. "Head," Lin Yi said. "Lin Yi, what happened? Weren't you being intercepted by Zhuge family experts?" "Where are they?" Lin Taifeng asked. "Head, we were indeed intercepted. The opponents were 4 chaotic realms and 1 half-step divine demon. But the half-step divine demon was not as strong as I thought. The enemy was too reckless and died under my sword, including the 4 chaotic realms," Lin Yi said directly. Those were the words he had thought of previously. Without a doubt, Lin Taifeng began questioning him. "You mean you killed the half-step divine demon?" Lin Taifeng would believe he had killed those 4 chaotic realms. But Lin Yi alone, taking down a half-step divine demon? He could never believe that. "Yes," Lin Yi replied. He knew Lin Taifeng would not believe it, but he said it anyway. Jian Wushuang added, "Uncle Lin, the half-step divine demon indeed died by Uncle Lin Yi's hand. He achieved a breakthrough in sword principle after the meditation, crossing over the threshold of sword principle. He already has half-step divine demon powers. The opponent underestimated Uncle Lin Yi from the very beginning." Although he had his doubts, as Lin Taifeng looked across the battlefield, the void had been filled with Lin Yi's sword essence. Along with Jian Wushuang's testimony, Lin Taifeng finally managed to believe some of it. Chapter 23-22. His words, "Dead, he's dead?" Lin Yi froze there completely. He could not believe that the half-step divine demon Yen Ke had died under his sword. No matter how strong his sword was, the half-step divine demon expert could not have stood there and simply absorbed the hit without any resistance. But that had just happened. "It's a soul attack." Yen Ke was stuck with a terrifying soul attack, and it came from... Lin Yi looked at Jian Wushuang. It was because Jian Wushuang's soul attack had immobilized Yen Ke, giving him the opportunity to kill him. How? Little Wushuang is only a pure sun realm. How did he manage to do such a terrifying soul attack? Lin Yi was shocked. What he did not know was that Jian Wushuang was indeed a pure sun realm expert in terms of cultivation base, but his soul power was stronger than that of a peak chaotic realm like him. A sudden golden light scripture from the 3 divine lights performed by Jian Wushuang was what caught Yen Ke by surprise. "It's a pity that the soul-swallowing pearl did not follow me through reincarnation. If not, that soul attack would have done much more than injure," Jian Wushuang said quietly. In his previous life, his soul attacks had been extremely powerful and had had his soul-swallowing pearl to complement it. The soul-swallowing pearl was powerful and had helped with Jian Wushuang's soul attacks immensely. Unfortunately, when his master had sent him down the reincarnation passage, only his soul, the Blood Mountain Sword, and the Mountain River map had followed. Even now, he had no clue where the Mountain River map was. Other treasures like the 5-gem armor, the soul-swallowing pearl, the 5-fire godly spirit mirror and more, were all left back at the eternal chaotic world. "Uncle Lin, Yen Ke's dead, but he's a half-step divine demon after all. Check the Qian Kuan ring," Jian Wushuang said. "Qian Kuan ring?" Lin Yi's eyes lit up. A half-step divine demon from a big sect like the Water Fairy Island was bound to possess lots of treasures. But Lin Yi frowned immediately and said, "Little Wushuang, I did not do much in killing Yen Quebec. It was your soul attack. The items in Yen Ke and the other 4 chaotic realm experts' Qian Kuan rings should belong to you." "No, I'm only a pure sun realm. I cannot kill a half-step divine demon. Yen Ke was killed by you only. The other 4 as well. You understand, Uncle Lin Yi?" Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Yi right in the eyes. Lin Yi understood what Jian Wushuang was trying to do. Jian Wushuang did not want too much attention. After all, a pure sun realm taking down 4 chaotic realm experts with 1 sword, and seriously injuring a half-step divine demon with 1 soul attack, would bring attention not only from Anjou Commandery but from the entire Wuxia Baron region. Jian Wushuang had already gained much attention within the Anjiu commandery for his name. If word of what had just happened spread, countless experts would have their eyes on him. Understood, I know what to do. I won't spill a word about what happened today. Even if the Lin family head asks, I'll insist I did it alone, Lin Yi said. Jian Wushuang had helped his sword principal achieve a breakthrough previously. Lin Yi was grateful to Jian Wushuang. He knew that Jian Wushuang was in a tough spot, of course, and he would help Jian Wushuang wherever he could. Thank you, Uncle Lin, Jian Wushuang smiled. 4 yen Ks and the other 4 experts Chen Kun Ring, the items inside all belong to you. If I could have some elixir that boosts divine power, or some natural treasures, that would be great. No problem, Lin Yi nodded. Immediately he searched through the Chen Kun Rings. He sorted them out with Jian Wushuang. Experts from big clans like the Water Fairy Island Yen K indeed possessed much richer treasures. There were 3 nature treasures in total. Lin Yi was elated upon its discovery, but Jian Wushuang could not have cared less. Jian Wushuang only wanted the elixirs that improved divine power. Soon they sorted out the treasures. Little Wushuang, let's wait, the reinforcements will arrive soon, Lin Yi said. Okay, Jian Wushuang nodded. They waited quietly along the mountain range. Shio, shio, shio. Countless flowing lights arrived at amazing speeds and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and Lin Yi. Head, Lin Yi said. Lin Yi, what happened? Weren't you being intercepted by Zhuge family experts? Where are they? Lin Taifeng asked. Head, we were indeed intercepted. The opponents were 4 chaotic realms and 1 half-step divine demon. But the half-step divine demon was not as strong as I thought. The enemy was too reckless and died under my sword, including the 4 chaotic realms, Lin Yi said directly. Those were the words he had thought of previously. Without a doubt, Lin Taifeng began questioning him. You mean you killed the half-step divine demon? Lin Taifeng would believe he had killed those 4 chaotic realms. But Lin Yi alone, taking down a half-step divine demon? He could never believe that. Yes, Lin Yi replied. He knew Lin Taifeng would not believe it, but he said it anyway. Jian Wushuang added, Uncle Lin, the half-step divine demon indeed died by Uncle Lin Yi's hand. He achieved a breakthrough in sword principle after the meditation, crossing over the threshold of sword principle. He already has half-step divine demon powers. The opponent underestimated Uncle Lin Yi from the very beginning. Although he had his doubts, as Lin Taifeng looked across the battlefield, the void had been filled with Lin Yi's sword essence. Along with Jian Wushuang's testimony, Lin Taifeng finally managed to believe some of it. Chapter 23-24 Returning to Incineration Moon City, the governor's mansion. Zhui Yunfeng, Luo Xinqin, and many guards and servants had received news of Jian Wushuang's return and were waiting for him at the gate. Father, mother, Jian Wushuang bowed to the parents of his current life. It's been almost 4 years, boy. You've grown taller. Zhui Yunfeng looked at Jian Wushuang and smiled. Not just taller, more mature. Luo Xinqin smiled as she squeezed Jian Wushuang's cheeks. Jian Wushuang was comforted. Regardless of the Zhui Yunfeng couple of this life, or the Jian Nantian couple of his previous, they were all his closest family. Brother Lin Ao is here as well? Zhui Yunfeng noticed the 2 Lin family experts that had escorted Jian Wushuang. Thank you so much. No problem, the young lord has helped the Lin family quite a bit during this period of time. It's natural we return the favor, orders from our head, Lin Ao said. You're too kind, Zhui Yunfeng replied. Brother Zhua. Lin Yi's gaze turned solemn. To be honest, I was the only one escorting him back today. But little Wushuang was intercepted by Zhuge family experts. Luckily we survived. Lin Ao followed us afterwards as a safety precaution. Intercepted? Zhui Yunfeng's face changed. Intercepted by a half-step divine demon. It was serious, Lin Ao said. Zhui Yunfeng's frown grew deeper. Luo Xinqin beside asked Jian Wushuang worriedly, Shuang, are you okay then? Of course, thanks to Uncle Lin. Jian Wushuang smiled. We are grateful, Zhui Yunfeng thanked them once again. After they exchanged greetings, Zhui Yunfeng wanted to invite Lin Yi and Lin Ao to stay for a few days, but Jian Wushuang dragged them to a corner. I have something I would like the two of you to help with, Jian Wushuang asked humbly. No problem. Lin Yi was impressed by Jian Wushuang's skills and agreed immediately. The both of you should leave the Incineration Moon City immediately, but don't go too far. Come back quietly at night and hide within the Incineration Moon City, Jian Wushuang said. Little Wushuang, you mean? Lin Yi and Lin Ao looked at Jian Wushuang. They understood Jian Wushuang's intentions. If the Zhuge family tried to kill me once, they will try again. Although I'm safe with my father at the Incineration Moon City, as a safety precaution, I hope both of you will stay for a month, no longer than that. If the Zhuge family does not make their move by then, they probably will not anymore. If they do, at least you can help me, Jian Wushuang said. Understood. Lin Mansion should be safe by the end of the month anyway. Well, stay in the city for a month, Lin Ao said directly. Thank you both, but please be careful, Jian Wushuang said. Understood. Lin Yi and Lin Ao replied and left. Soon, under the gaze of many, they left the city openly. But not long after, they returned without a trace. Within the governor's mansion, the Zhui Yunfeng couple and Jian Wushuang gathered together. Shuang, how have you been these 4 years? Zhui Yunfeng asked. Not bad, they took care of me well. I ate well, slept well, Jian Wushuang smiled. Rascal, who asked you about that? How's your cultivation? Zhui Yunfeng laughed as he scolded him. As his father, Zhui Yunfeng was most concerned with Jian Wushuang's abilities and speed of growth. Luo Xinqin could not have cared less for those, as long as Jian Wushuang was happy. My cultivation base improved quite a bit, and my sword principle as well, Jian Wushuang said as a divine power aura was released from him. This is Pure Sun Realm? Zhui Yunfeng was shocked. How could it be? When you left, you were only an early transformed god, but you reached Pure Sun Realm levels in 4 years. What Zhui Yunfeng did not know was that Jian Wushuang had concealed his divine power, releasing only early Pure Sun Realm levels. If Zhui Yunfeng knew he had already reached mid-Pure Sun Realm levels, he would have been even more shocked. I got lucky, Jian Wushuang said casually. Rascal, you surprise me by the day. If you didn't show your divine power aura, even I could not have guessed. What kind of aura concealment skill did you learn? Zhui Yunfeng asked. I learnt it a long time ago within the mansion, but I forgot what skill was it. It's good though, Jian Wushuang smiled. Is it? Zhui Yunfeng had his doubts. The secret skills within the mansion were all his, but he did not recall one with such powerful aura concealment skills. Jian Wushuang did not explain further. He had roamed the world for 100,000 years in his past life, learning countless skills, the aura concealment skill included. Even true divine demons would not be able to tell if he did not reveal his aura himself. Forget it, I will not ask too much. But what happened on the way back? Why was there a half-step divine demon going after you? Zhui Yunfeng frowned. Luo Xinqin looked over as well. Jian Wushuang briefly recounted what had happened at the Lin Mansion without concealing anything, including the part where he had defeated Zhuge Hong. That's what happened, huh? Zhui Yunfeng's face darkened. The Zhuge family and Lin family had been fighting for years. Now that the Zhuge family is finally slightly stronger than the Lin family, along with Zhuge Hong, I think they are about to finally make their move. Chapter 23-25. Chaotic Realm. As a half-step divine demon expert, Zhui Yunfeng had seen much of the world. He knew in an instant what the Zhuge family was planning. Shuang, you did right this time, Zhui Yunfeng said. Lin Taifeng and I are blood-sworn brothers. If the Lin family is in trouble, I would help no matter what. You did the right thing defeating Zhuge Hong there. Jian Wushuang shrugged his shoulders. He knew his father well. If I'm not wrong, the Zhuge family will make their move soon. If they dared to attack me, it means that they were prepared. Even if you help the Lin family, father, I'm afraid it won't change much, Jian Wushuang said. And if they come, you may die along with the Lin family. Looks like I need to restore my own powers as soon as possible. My cultivation base should at least be at the chaotic realm level in order to fight the Zhuge family. Jian Wushuang knew clearly that without his soul attack, he would struggle against a peak chaotic realm expert. Zhuge family could simply send a half-step divine demon to kill him. He could not influence the battle with his fighting power. But if he restored his chaotic realm cultivation base, things would be different. If I train normally, it'll take me 4 to 5 years to go from middle pure sun realm to early stage chaotic realm. But with the elixirs and natural treasures by my side, I should improve fast enough. I can only hope it'll be faster than the Zhuge family. Jian Wushuang's gaze flashed with a ray of fine light. Afterwards, Jian Wushuang stayed in the governor's mansion, improving his divine power with the elixirs and natural treasures. At the same time, Lin Yi and Lin Ao remained hiding within the incineration moon city in case anything happened within the governor's mansion. A month passed, and the mansion remained peaceful. Guess the Zhuge family is not so stupid after all. Jian Wushuang sat in his room, reading a jade bamboo strip. He had guessed that the Zhuge family would not attack him for a second time after the first failure. It would be too difficult for them. But as a safety precaution, Jian Wushuang had still requested that Lin Yi and Lin Ao stay for an extra month, but it was obviously in vain. After a month passed, Lin Yi and Lin Ao naturally left the incineration moon city and returned back to the Lin mansion. Jian Wushuang remained peaceful and continued to improve his divine power cultivation base. Time passed. In a flash, 3 years passed. Jian Wushuang became 19 years old that year. In the absolute beginning divine world, that made him an adult. In a secret room within the governor's mansion, Jian Wushuang sat alone with his eyes shut as strong divine power surrounded him. The divine power was converging towards him wildly, striking the barrier within his own body. In 2 hits, the barrier collapsed. He had had a breakthrough. Jian Wushuang's divine power and holy body had begun to change. Chaotic realm, I'm finally here. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, evidently surprised. He now possessed early-stage chaotic realm powers, equivalent to a Sir God's, but Jian Wushuang was still far from his pinnacle cultivation base. But it was enough to delight him. The leap between the pure sun realm and the chaotic realm was a big one. Crossing it meant Jian Wushuang's abilities would leap forward as well. More importantly, he could now learn many secret skills. I thought it would take me 3 to 4 years, and indeed it took exactly 3 years. Faster than I had imagined, Jian Wushuang thought with a smile. If he allowed Zhuge Yunfeng to know his cultivation base, he would be shocked. Jian Wushuang had shown him an early pure sun realm cultivation base, but if he were to jump to chaotic realm just 3 years later, the cultivating speed, it would be mind-blowing. The entire Anjiao Commandery, or even the Wuxia Baron region, had not heard of anyone reaching chaotic realm levels before the age of 20. But now Jian Wushuang had done it. Of course, Jian Wushuang could reach those levels only because his own cultivation base had long ago reached divine demon levels. He was simply restoring divine power. As long as he had enough divine power, he could break through without any trouble. In terms of the accumulation of divine power, the absolute beginning divine world's spiritual influence of heaven and earth was rich, in addition to his perfect chaotic life form body absorbing them at terrifying speeds, along with more elixirs and natural treasures. Reaching chaotic realm at the age of 19 seemed normal. If he continued to recover at that speed, he would restore his chaotic divine demon levels within a decade. But after he stepped into divine demon levels, his cultivating speeds would slow down. In the previous life, as an inverse cultivator, when I first stepped into chaotic realm levels, my divine power was strong enough to fight against peak chaotic realms. Along with the explosive power granted by my bloodline of ancient clan, my powers were even stronger than those of peak chaotic realm experts. But in this life, although I no longer possess the bloodline of ancient clan, as a perfect chaotic life form, my divine powers, Jian Wushuang murmured as he clenched his right fist, accumulating an explosive power. Jian Wushuang punched the nearby void. A violent wind-crackling sound could be heard as the space within the void rippled subtly. This power should be good against a half-step divine demon, Jian Wushuang was pleased. He had just stepped into the chaotic realm, but his divine powers now rivaled a half-step divine demon? And am not a complete perfect chaotic life form yet. When I reach my pinnacle state as a chaotic divine demon, I wonder how terrifying it'll be. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists in anticipation. Chapter 23-26, 5 Great Secret Skills, Part 1. Upon reaching chaotic realm levels, Jian Wushuang's power went through dramatic changes. If he encountered the half-step divine demon Yan Ke, even without Lin, he could easily kill him with his own power. After all, with his rules of power along with his sword principle understanding, as long as his divine powers could demonstrate half-step divine demon levels, he could easily kill Yan Quebec. After reaching chaotic realm levels, he could start training many secret skills as well. The secret skills referred to the 6 great secret skills his master had left in his head after he had been reincarnated. The most powerful secret skill of the 6 was his master's Heaven Slaughter skill. As the first perfect chaotic life form, how powerful would Xian Yi's self-created Heaven Slaughter skill be? He dare not speculate before he trained it. The qualifications for the Heaven Slaughter skill were too high. He needed to reach chaotic divine demon levels first. So, he could only train the 5 great secret skills from the 7-star Black Sect. They were the secret skill of 7 stars, 9-star armor, Punisher God, Exquisite Pagoda, and the Body of Eternity. The 5 great secret skills had had a great reputation during 7-star Black Sect's prime. All 5 secret skills were extremely powerful, and countless experts craved it. But as the 7-star divine realm perished and the remaining experts stuck at the 7-star divine realm, the 5 great secret skills were no longer to be seen on the absolute beginning divine world. But Jian Wushuang now possessed all 5 of them. In the secret room, Jian Wushuang started analyzing it. He had analyzed it before, so he already understood most of it. First was the secret skill of 7 stars. He was most familiar with this secret skill. The secret skills of Star Palace he had trained in the eternal chaotic world had originated from this secret skill of 7 stars and had depended heavily on it to escape from life and death situations. But the secret skills of Star Palace and the true secret skill of 7 stars were obviously different. The secret skills of Star Palace had been passed down in the eternal chaotic world after his master Xian Yi's modification. The eternal chaotic world lacked the willpower of Heaven Wei, and therefore the balance of much could be disrupted. With the secret skills of Star Palace, the first scroll increased his fighting power 10-fold. The second scroll, 100-fold. The third scroll, 1,000-fold. The secret skill was unbelievable. But in reality, the secret skills of Star Palace could only be demonstrated in the eternal chaotic world. In the absolute beginning divine world, with Heaven Wei around, there was no way a secret skill could increase one's power by 100 times. No secret skill was capable of such a thing. Although the complete secret skill of 7 stars was impressive, it was not as amazing as the one he had learned back at the eternal chaotic world. The true secret skill of 7 stars concentrated star power as well, but the star power would instead concentrate into the person's holy body, merging perfectly with their divine power and blood essence. The star power would improve the person's own cultivation base. The secret skill of 7 stars had 3 scrolls as well. The first scroll elevated anyone below an undying saint by half a realm. The second scroll elevated anyone below an undying saint by a full realm. The third scroll elevated anyone below an undying saint by 2 realms, and elevated anyone beyond an undying saint by half a realm. Jian Wushuang was left speechless as he read through the information related to the secret skill of 7 stars. Within the absolute beginning divine world, even though the secret skill of 7 stars was not as outrageous due to Heaven Wei, it was still terrifying. It could directly elevate one's own cultivation base. The 3 scrolls would help one immensely, especially the third scroll. Once that was learnt, anyone below an undying saint would be elevated by 2 realms. Say, if an early-stage chaotic realm expert were to learn that third scroll, he could reach the peak chaotic realm in an instant. That was the elevation of 2 realms. Elevating half a realm above the undying saint was even more impressive. An undying saint was one of the strongest experts in the absolute beginning divine world. Even a little improvement meant a lot to an undying saint, and was very hard to achieve. Now, if they knew they could be elevated by half a realm instantly with the help of the secret skill, many undying saints would kill for it. Thanks, it is indeed one of the strongest secret skill the 7-star Black Sect has to offer. It may not be as good as the secret skills of Star Palace, but in the absolute beginning divine world, this would help immensely, Jian Wushuang said in admiration. He was very content with it. Of course, as a chaotic realm, it was hard to learn all 3 scrolls in one shot. He could only learn the first. Even so, his powers would improve immensely. Next, Jian Wushuang read the 9-star armor. He had seen Emperor Bai demonstrate the 9-star armor before, and knew how powerful it was. It was also one of 7-star Black Sect's strongest secret skills. But after reading its details, Jian Wushuang shook his head. An early-stage chaotic realm could indeed train it, but one needed lots of resources. More importantly, one needed to create their own life armor. The life armor was different from any other armor. The life armor needed to be created with the cultivator's own blood essence, linking the armor to the host itself. If the life armor got damaged, the host would be injured as well. And the life armor could only be used by the creator. The 9-star armor was a secret skill that complemented the life armor. The resources required for the 9-star armor cultivation were nothing, but creating a life armor will be a different matter, Jian Wushuang murmured. Chapter 23-27, 5 Great Secret Skills, Part 2. He had learned from Emperor Bai back in the eternal chaotic world that it took him a huge amount of time and resources to master the 9-star armor. He now knew it was due to the life armor. It's not easy creating a life armor, Jian Wushuang said. Creating a life armor not only required blood essence but also resources suitable for the armor. Those resources were considered extremely valuable in the absolute beginning divine world as well. At least his Zhui Yunfeng and the Lin Mansion would definitely not be able to obtain it. Maybe a big sect in the Wuxia Baron region would be willing to sacrifice that much. Next, life armor still needed a master smelter to be created. In the Wuxia Baron region, there were only so many master smelters in the region. Jian Wushuang would not be able to reach them at that moment. Without materials or someone to help smelt it, he could not master the 9-star armor anyway. They'll put the 9-star armor on hold for now, Jian Wushuang said to himself. The 9-star armor was powerful. Jian Wushuang would never give up on it. He simply put it on hold. Next, Jian Wushuang read the Punisher God. He had seen Emperor Bai demonstrate the terrifying Punisher God before. When Emperor Bai was in full drive, the 99,000-foot-tall Golden Emperor Shadow improved his powers immensely. The Punisher God also had some tricks up its sleeve, like the Punisher's Hell. Jian Wushuang was relatively envious of Emperor Bai then. But even if Emperor Bai had handed him the secret skill in the eternal chaotic world then, it would have been too hard for him to learn. But things were different now. The Punisher God only needs sufficient spiritual influence of heaven and earth and some supplementary treasures to help. Not easy to find in the eternal chaotic world, but easy enough over here. I can do this, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. He was in a better position than Emperor Bai to learn the Punisher God. There were levels to the cultivation of Punisher God as well. The levels could be seen from how tall the shadow one could precipitate was. The first level would form a 100-foot tall shadow. The second level, 1,000 feet. The third level, 10,000 feet. The fourth level, 100,000 feet. The fifth level, 1,000,000 feet. Jian Wushuang remembered when Emperor Bai had demonstrated the Punisher God in the eternal chaotic world, the shadow reached 99,000 feet high. In terms of levels, Emperor Bai should have been one step away from the fourth level. But in reality, that was not the case. Although Emperor Bai formed a shadow 99,000 feet high then, the secret skill he learned had always been flawed. It would be easy to keep going, but its true power cannot be released. Even if he had obtained the complete skill afterwards, head pale in comparison to those who had the full skill from the very beginning, Jian Wushuang said. According to the Punisher God information, it was not easy to cultivate it. The third level of Punisher God already required a top chaotic divine demon to master. The only reason Emperor Bai had reached the peak of the third level was because the skill he had learnt was flawed from the very beginning. With my abilities and some time, I should be able to learn the first level of Punisher God, forming a 100-foot-tall shadow. This way, my powers will improve too. Jian Wushuang smiled. Of the 5 great secret skills in the 7-star Black Sect, the secret skill of 7 stars, 9-star armor, and Punisher God were all secret skills that improved fighting power. He could learn 2 of the 3 for now. As for the remaining 2, Exquisite Pagoda, Body of Eternity, these are defensive secret skills. Jian Wushuang read on. The Exquisite Pagoda was a soul defense secret skill. After a cultivator reached chaotic realm levels and his consciousness morphed into a soul, the soul would become particularly important. As one's powers grew stronger, the more important his soul would become. Once someone has reached Undying Saint levels and gained the body of Undying, the soul would be their root power. Therefore, soul defense was particularly important. Many experts in the absolute beginning divine world would give up everything in order to improve their soul defense abilities. And as the 5 great secret skills of the 7-star Black Sect, the Exquisite Pagoda was the top 5 soul defense skills in the absolute beginning divine world. It was definitely a soul defense skill countless experts would kill for. After I reincarnated, without my soul swallowing pearl, my soul defense dropped quite a bit. I can make use of this Exquisite Pagoda. Jian Wushuang smiled. He knew that in order to free the people in the 7-star divine realm and meet his closest family and friends on the other side, he needed to prioritize his life. The Exquisite Pagoda would help him with that immensely. Besides the Exquisite Pagoda, there was the Body of Eternity and equally strong protective secret skill. But Jian Wushuang had no intention to learn it. After all, he already possessed a more suitable protective secret skill. The Body of Eternity can be considered the top 10 protective secret skills in the absolute beginning divine world, but the immemorial celestial body of the ancient clan is probably stronger, Jian Wushuang murmured. Chapter 23-28, about to start. The immemorial celestial body was from the ancient clan. The ancient clan was one of the 4 big holy tribes in the absolute beginning divine world, powerful in both close combat and preservation techniques. The immemorial celestial body was the ancient clan's trump card. When comparing the immemorial celestial body and the Body of Eternity, most would likely agree that the immemorial celestial body was slightly stronger, for it increased the strength of the holy body as well as one's own divine power. The only flaw was that it could only be cultivated by someone that possessed the bloodline of ancient clan, the ancient clan. Therefore, although the secret skill was powerful, it was not very popular in the absolute beginning divine world. Because even if absolute beginning divine world cultivators were to obtain the secret skill, they could not learn it. Jian Wushuang had possessed the bloodline of ancient clan in his past life, and the immemorial celestial body had helped him immensely. But after reincarnation, he had lost everything except his soul. Naturally, he had lost the bloodline of ancient clan as well. However, Jian Wushuang soon realized that he could still practice the secret skills of the ancient clan. The ancient clan secret skills all required the bloodline of ancient clan, but Jian Wushuang could perform them easily. Jian Wushuang then realized that as a perfect chaotic life form, he was the origin of all living beings. Therefore he had the bloodline of ancient clan somewhere within him as well. And it does not stop there. Even if the other 3 holy tribes had secret skills that needed their unique bloodline power, as long as Jian Wushuang had the secret skill, there was no stopping him. The Body of Eternity was impressive, but Jian Wushuang would definitely prefer the immemorial celestial body if he could learn it. The 5 great secret skills. I can learn the secret skill of 7 stars, Punisher God, Exquisite Pagoda, add the immemorial celestial body into the mix, and I should have enough to roam these lands freely, Jian Wushuang murmured. After making a decision, Jian Wushuang started making his move. In addition, he went directly to his father Zhuo Yunfeng for his help at searching some cultivating resources. Zhui Yunfeng had high hopes for Jian Wushuang and naturally did his best after learning that those resources would do good for Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang did not waste time either and soon started his training. In the blink of an eye, 2 months passed. Jian Wushuang was still cultivating the secret skills, but he had to stop. The Zhuge family was about to make their move. Governor's mansion, within the hall. Brother Lin has sent a message to me. I'll make my way to the Lin mansion tomorrow to assist them, Zhui Yunfeng said solemnly. Luo Xinqin beside him frowned worriedly. They're finally making their move? Jian Wushuang squinted and said, Father, I'll follow you to the Lin mansion tomorrow. Nonsense, Zhui Yunfeng berated him. You think this is a game? The Zhuge family is determined to exterminate the Lin family this time. Any misstep would lead to dire circumstances. Even I may not survive then, how could you help? You'll be seeking an early death. Father, the Zhuge family have had their eyes on me since I returned 3 years ago. They even sent a half-step divine demon to kill me. Even though they failed, they will not give up. The reason why they have not made their move since is that you are still here. The moment you leave and the Zhuge family hears the word of it, do you think Mother and I will be safe in the mansion? Jian Wushuang said calmly. Zhui Yunfeng flinched. He remembered that Jian Wushuang had once been chased down by the Zhuge family. As for what Jian Wushuang said, if he left the governor's mansion, and the Zhuge family assassins came. Okay, for your safety, follow me to the Lin mansion tomorrow. But when we reach it, follow our arrangements. If the Lin mansion can no longer be defended, I will arrange someone to help both of you escape. Do not hesitate at that time, Zhui Yunfeng said solemnly. That moment will not come, Father. Even if it does, we can escape, Jian Wushuang replied. Okay, Zhui Yunfeng nodded. He did not notice how determined and cold Jian Wushuang's gaze was. Jian Wushuang had long known that his father was prepared to die with the Lin family. If the Lin family could no longer fend off the Zhuge family, Zhui Yunfeng would definitely fight to the death alongside Lin Taifeng. That was not what Jian Wushuang wanted. Unfortunately, it's only been 2 months since I made a breakthrough to chaotic realm levels. Besides the first scroll of the immemorial celestial body, I have not mastered the rest. The odds are not good, Jian Wushuang murmured. He had wasted no time training those past 2 months. But he needed more time. The resources he needed for Punisher God had not arrived like his father had promised. Although he had cultivated the first scroll of the immemorial celestial body, it had not boosted his powers immensely. But he remained confident that he could go against normal chaotic divine demons. Regardless, I will not let anything be done to my parents. Not the past life, not now. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist as a hint of murderous intent swept through his gaze. The Zhuge family tried to take my life. I had no grudges. But if they dare mess with family, they will have to get through me first. The next day, Jian Wushuang and his parents, along with some chaotic realm guards, left for the Lin mansion. They arrived smoothly a few days later. At the Lin family, the head was waiting at the gate. Under normal circumstances, a half-step divine demon would not have been worthy of the Lin family head to welcome personally, but Zhui Yunfeng was different. Everyone in the Anjiu commandery knew that Zhui Yunfeng and Lin Taifeng were sworn brothers. Even though some experts would hesitate or even reject Lin family's pleas for help, Zhui Yunfeng did not hesitate and was instead the first to arrive. Chapter 23-29, Lin Tao, Thunder Sound Sect. Ha, Brother Zhua. Lin Taifeng smiled broadly as he greeted his guests. Brother Lin, it's been a few years. How have you been? Zhui Yunfeng smiled as well. Thank you for coming this time, Lin Taifeng said solemnly. We are brothers, why the formalities? Zhui Yunfeng complained. Lin Taifeng was left speechless and smiled. He looked at Luo Xinqin and Jian Wushuang at the side. Both of them have decided to come too? Yes, Zhui Yunfeng replied. The Zhuge family tried to kill Shuang before. I could not leave them back at the mansion without fears of an assassination. Is that so? Lin Taifeng nodded and said, Rest assured, Brother Zhua. Even if the Lin family was at the brink of extinction, I would do whatever I could to make sure they escape safely. Thank you. Zhou Yunfeng heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Zhua, over here. Lin Taifeng waved his hand. The Zhua family headed inside the Lin Mansion. Many Lin Mansion experts around them were talking amongst themselves. That's the governor of the Incineration Moon City? I have heard of the good relations between Governor Zhua and our head. I guess that was true. Those experts who are on good terms with the Lin family all refused to help us, but now Governor Zhua is the first one here, with his entire family as well. Looks like they are ready to fight and die alongside us. Oh, did you notice the young man beside him, Jian Wushuang? Of course. He crushed Zhuge Hong's divine weapon 3 years ago with his fingers, saving face for the Lin family. The experts had nothing but respect and admiration for Zhou Yunfeng and Jian Wushuang. A friend in need was a friend indeed. There was no doubt regarding Zhou Yunfeng's intentions. Once they had settled down in the Lin Mansion, Zhou Yunfeng and Lin Taifeng went into discussion. Jian Wushuang stayed in the courtyard that he had lived in before. Soon, 2 figures rushed over. They were Lin Yan and Lin Qingqing. Ha, hey, brother Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could hear Lin Yan's hearty laughter from far and walked out of the room with a smile. Young Lord Wushuang, Lin Qingqing said, her eyes full of respect for Jian Wushuang. In the past 3 years, Jian Wushuang had stayed at the Lin Mansion. He had impressed many with his proficiency with the sword principle. After Jian Wushuang had defeated Zhuge Hong, countless more Lin Mansion disciples had looked at him in admiration. 3 years had passed, but that sense of admiration had never subsided. Young Lord Yan, young Qingqing, it's been some time. Jian Wushuang greeted them with a smile. Ha, brother Wushuang. Have you changed much these past 3 years? Lin Yan looked at Jian Wushuang. Same as you, not at all. Jian Wushuang smiled. Lin Yan was considered his first friend in his current life. His character was similar to that of his best buddy Wang Yun, loud, straightforward, and carefree. Jian Wushuang was pleased to make such friends. Are you prepared for what's to come? Jian Wushuang smiled as he asked Lin Yan. Of course, I've improved quite a bit these past 3 years, you know. If the Zhuge family dares to come, I'll let them have it, Lin Yan replied coldly. Oh. Jian Wushuang lifted his brow. He could tell that Lin Yan's abilities had improved, but he was not at pure sun realm yet, a mere pinnacle transformed god. He was nothing in the war between the Zhuge family. Of course, it's good to have such fighting ambitions. As Jian Wushuang, Lin Yan and Lin Qingqing were talking casually, a Lin Mansion disciple ran in hurriedly. Brother Yan, I knew you would be here. The disciple's eyes lit up the moment he saw Lin Yan. I'm reminiscing with Brother Wushuang. What's the matter? Lin Yan frowned. Brother Tao's back, the disciple replied. Oh. Lin Yan flinched, then immediately displayed great joy. So did Lin Qingqing. Brother Tao. Lin Tao. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. He had learned a bit about the Lin Mansion people in the 3 years he stayed there. He had not met Lin Tao personally, but Jian Wushuang had heard of him. Lin Tao was supposedly the best genius the Lin Mansion had had in centuries. He made the breakthrough to pure sun realm by the age of 20, better than that Zhuge Hong. He had then entered the chaotic realm at the age of 27, and entered a sect called the Thunder Sound Sect, and never returned since. But Lin Tao was back this time. Brother Tao is back? Come, let's go see. Lin Yan was obviously excited and even dragged Jian Wushuang along towards the Lin Mansion gates. Soon they arrived. Sure enough, a few figures stood surrounded by crowds of Lin Mansion disciples and some experts. The man that stood in the center, the handsome young man, was Lin Tao, Lin Mansion's first genius. He smiled and greeted the Lin Mansion experts as the disciples looked at him with admiration. That kind of admiration was different to how they had looked at Jian Wushuang. Their admiration now had frenzy added to the mix. Jian Wushuang was gifted and had defeated Zhuge Hong, but he did not belong to the Lin Mansion in the end. But not for Lin Tao. He was the young disciple's idol. Is that Lin Tao? Jian Wushuang gave Lin Tao a slight glance, but what he really noticed were the 4 behind him. 3 males, 1 female, all young. Jian Wushuang could tell that the 3 men were already at half-step divine demon levels. The woman was stronger, A real chaotic divine demon. 1 chaotic divine demon, 3 half-step divine demon experts. Not only did he rush back himself, he even got help. Jian Wushuang smiled. Chapter 23:30. Humility. A half-step divine demon was a rare asset to come by for the fight against the Zhuge family. A chaotic divine demon would certainly help the Lin family even more. Now, Lin Tao brought over a chaotic divine demon and 3 half-step divine demons. Brother Tao. Lin Qingqing and Lin Yan rushed towards Lin Yan at the first moment they could. Oh, Yan? Qingqing? It's the 2 of you. Lin Tao recognized both of them. It's been over a decade since we last met. You have all grown so much. Lin Tao had left for the Thunder Sound sect at the age of 27. 12 years had passed, and he was already 39. They made some small talk. Come, Brother Tao, let me introduce you to a sword principle genius, Brother Wushuang. My father said his gifts in sword principle were the best in the Anjiao Commandery, and perhaps even in the entire Wuxia Baron region, Lin Yan said as he pointed at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang flinched and smiled bitterly. Lin Yan was not a good talker. It would have been fine if he had said that to others. But Lin Tao was a genius, and there were definitely many other geniuses in Thunder Sound sect that were proficient in sword principle. Lin Yan's statement would certainly attract unnecessary attention. Indeed, Lin Tao and his 3 half-step divine demons, and even that divine demon beauty, shifted their gazes towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said humbly, "Greetings to all, I'm Jian Wushuang." Jian Wushuang? Lin Tao stared at him curiously. Unparalleled in sword principle, what a powerful name. I wonder if your sword principle cultivation base lives up to your name. A black-robed man behind Lin Tao smiled widely with his teeth showing. He had a long sword behind his back, stating the obvious that he was into sword cultivation. The name was given to me by my parents. In terms of sword principle cultivation base, it's not as exaggerated as young Lord Yen claimed. I'm considered ordinary compared to you all from the Thunder Sound sect, Jian Wushuang replied. Modest too, Lin Tao nodded. The black-robed man with the long sword shrugged his shoulders. He had no intention to go after Jian Wushuang after he had put himself down. Yen, you can say that within the Lin mansion, but not outside. Don't make trouble for him, Lin Tao instructed. But Lin Yan only wanted to say how gifted Jian Wushuang was, but Jian Wushuang pulled his sleeve. Young Lord Tao is right. There are countless talents around. I'm really nothing much compared to the Wuxia Baron region. Jian Wushuang smiled. He did not want to cause any trouble. Lin Yan naturally did not say much. It's nice to see someone with modesty, Lin Tao nodded. Even if the Lin family head said Jian Wushuang was the best in sword principle in the entire Wuxia Baron region, he would take it with a pinch of salt. After all, his worldview had changed the moment he entered the Thunder Sound sect. He knew that the land was unfathomable, and geniuses could be anywhere and everywhere. Even in the Wuxia Baron region, the strongest sword principle genius had dared not claim to be the best in the Wuxia Baron region. Lin Taifeng was a chaotic divine demon, but his worldview was limited to only the Anjiao Commandery. His judgment naturally could not mean much then. After some chit-chat, Lin Taifeng and the Lin family top experts welcomed him as well. Lin Taifeng and the rest were naturally excited when they saw the 4 experts Lin Tao being brought over. After a while, everyone congregated at the Lin Mansion's conference hall, including the experts that the Lin Mansion had invited. Zhu Yunfeng was there as well. Jian Wushuang, on the other hand, hid at a small corner with Lin Yan. Lin Taifeng sat at the front, then stood up and bowed to the crowd in front of him. Thank you all for providing the Lin family with much-needed assistance during dire circumstances like these. Especially the 4 experts from the Thunder Sound sect, led by Fire Fairy. Thank you. You're too kind, head. The chaotic divine demon beauty from the Thunder Sound sect, Fire Fairy, said, Lin Tao is one of the core disciples of the Thunder Sound sect. If his family is in trouble, we will naturally help him, but because we had an agreement amongst clans to not interfere in every single clan or family feud, we can only send over some core disciples here. Please forgive us. Nonsense. We are already eternally grateful for your assistance. Lin Taifeng smiled. There were many sects in the Wuxia Barren region. Some of the clans controlled regions, but most did not. As time passed, the sects had an agreement to not interfere too much in family feuds within the region. Even if they had disciples in that family, the clan could only send a small number of experts to help. Lin Taifeng knew all that and naturally understood. The Thunder Sound sect can't help us completely, and neither can the Dongzhou sect help the Zhuge family too much. They will at most send a chaotic divine demon and some half-step divine demons. The remaining forces will simply be Lin versus the Zhuge family. Lin Taifeng's voice was clear and echoed within the hall. The Zhuge family have been fighting with us for years, we know each other well. We are about equally as powerful, how much stronger can they be? The only reason they dare challenge us is that one half-step divine demon recently ascended into divine demon levels. Even then, it won't be that easy to decimate us. After hearing what Lin Taifeng had to say, the hall was filled with whispers. Many experts invited by the Lin mansion nodded. The Lin family and Zhuge family had fought for so many years. Even if they had one more person that ascended to chaotic demon levels, even if they had Dongzhou sect's help, they could not destroy the Lin family. After all, the Lin family had the Thunder Sound sect behind them and had invited experts to help at all costs. Chapter 23:31. In 10 days Jian Wushuang looked at the crowd strangely as they whispered amongst themselves. Lin Taifeng gave them a pep talk. Jian Wushuang smiled. Lin Yan beside him, on the other hand, was visibly moved by what Lin Taifeng said. He felt that the Lin family could face the Zhuge family without fear. But in reality, Jian Wushuang knew that the Zhuge family had researched the Lin family's actual strength. And they probably knew that the Thunder Sound sect would help as well. Even then, if the Zhuge family dared to make a move, it meant that things were not as simple as they seemed. But he did not know who was backing the Zhuge family. Everyone, please do not leave the premises for now. If I am not wrong, they will attack in 10 days, Lin Taifeng said. 10 days? So fast. Immediately, there was a commotion in the hall. Brother Lin, how could you be so sure? Zhuge Yunfeng frowned. Truth be told, the Zhuge family finished their preparations 3 months ago. They delayed their plans till now as a big shot arrived at Anjiao Commandery 3 months ago, Lin Taifeng replied. The big shot had the Commandery governor come down to welcome the person himself, and I assume all of you know the Commandery governor's style. The Commandery governor has his own job to do. Normally, he would turn a blind eye to feuds within the Anjiao Commandery, but if the Commandery governor himself had to greet this big shot, and the Zhuge family attacked at that time, it would bring great shame to the Commandery governor. Everyone finally understood. Although the Commandery governor was only a chaotic divine demon, his title was indeed worthy of some respect. After all, the Commandery governor not only settled administrative affairs within the Commandery, if there were experts in the Commandery, he would recommend them to the sects himself. Normally, the Commandery governor would provide the genius with options. But if one sect were to offend him, they would likely never receive any genius from that region. The Commandery governor would not bother. So, unless necessary, the sects within the Wuxia Barren region dared not offend the Commandery governor. If even the sects did as such, the Zhuge family would not dare to offend the Commandery governor. The Zhuge family dare not make their move while the Commandery governor entertains his guest, but according to our information, that person will leave the Anjiao Commandery in days. With the Commandery governor's character, he will likely continue to retreat back to his own abode, disregarding the feuds within the Anjiao Commandery. The Zhuge family will make their move then, Lin Taifeng said. I see. The people in the hall nodded. So, please make your preparations. The enemy will be here in days, Lin Taifeng said solemnly. Rest assured, head, we will do our best, the experts in the hall all replied. At that same moment, the Zhuge family was making their preparations as well. In an exquisite attic, many experts from the Zhuge family gathered, along with some people from the Dongzhou sect. However, as Lin Taifeng had said, the Dongzhou sect did not dare send too many experts to join the battle. Only one chaotic divine demon and 4 half-step divine demons were present. The chaotic divine demon was the gray-robed elder beside Zhuge Hong, Elder Chen. According to news from the Lin Mansion, the experts from the Thunder Sound sect have arrived. The Lin Mansion has paid a hefty sum to invite lots of experts as well, a Zhuge family elder said. Haha, we predicted this a long time ago, a tall and sturdy middle-aged man with some stubble replied. He was the Zhuge family head, Zhuge Yuanchong. He had a white-haired elder beside him. He was the previous Zhuge family head, Zhuge Yun. He was the chaotic divine demon that had reached initial success at Sword Principal, recognized as the top sword cultivator in the Anjiu Commandery. Of course, he had not yet encountered Jian Wushuang at that time. Who is the chaotic divine demon the Thunder Sound sect sent? Elder Chen asked. Fire Fairy, Zhuge Yuanchong replied. Her. Elder Chen's brows lifted and he showed a playful smile. That Fire Fairy was only a Thunder Sound sect disciple 20 years ago. She made it to chaotic divine demon levels through sheer luck. She's a normal 3rd grade divine demon, small fry. According to what I heard, the divine demon that had been training outside has returned to the Lin Mansion. The Lin Mansion head Lin Taifeng is pretty strong as well, a peak 3rd grade divine demon. He could go against you, Elder Chen, Zhuge Yuanchong said. The last time I followed young Lord Hong to the Lin Mansion, although Lin Taifeng did not show himself, I could feel him. He was injured then. I wanted to lure him out, but that plan was messed up by a nobody junior, Elder Chen said. That Jian Wushuang. Once we wipe out the Lin family, he will have nowhere to escape, Zhuge Hong said coldly as he sat on one of the chairs. That Jian Wushuang is gifted, so he must be killed. That has me thinking. Did the Lin Mansion not kill a half-step divine demon from the Water Fairy Island? Why has the Water Fairy Island not acted upon it yet? Zhuge Yuanchong frowned. Chapter 2332. I won't allow it. Water Fairy Island was one of the clans that was ranked in the top 10 in the Wuxia Baron region. Both the Dongzhou sect and the Thunder Sound sect were less powerful than the Water Fairy Island. If the Water Fairy Island wanted to destroy the Lin family, it would be as easy as killing an ant. Zhuge family head, you might not know this, but there are more than 200 chaotic divine demons in the Water Fairy Island and countless extraordinary disciples. Even though Yen Kei is a disciple of the Water Fairy Island, she is an ordinary disciple and is not an influential person. She is not close to any of the other disciples or elders within the Water Fairy Island. Hence, the Water Fairy Island might not even care at all, Elder Chen said. Even so, she is still a disciple from the Water Fairy Island. If she is killed just like this and the Water Fairy Island does not take revenge for her, won't it be bad for their reputation? Zhuge Yuanchong said. No. The Water Fairy Island will definitely do something for her. After all, she is a disciple from the Water Fairy Island and people cannot just kill her and not pay a price. However, there is no telling when they will take revenge for her. If I am not wrong, there are no disciples or experts from the Water Fairy Island around this area. If one passed by, he would definitely come by. However, knowing the Water Fairy Island, they would just teach the Lin Mansion a lesson. They would not annihilate them to serve as a warning for others, as the Water Fairy Island is already well known by people as a prestigious and powerful clan, Elder Chen said. That is all? Forget it then, we never expected the Water Fairy Island to help us achieve our plan, Zhuge Yuanchong said. All right everyone. Go and prepare. Once that lord leaves the Anjiu prefecture and the commandery governor announces that he is going to shut himself off from the world to cultivate, we will execute our plan. Roger. The experts from the Zhuge family nodded their heads respectfully and left. However, a few chaotic divine demons from the Zhuge family and some of the people from Tianzhou sect stayed behind. Zhuge Hong was one of those who stayed. Soon, the door to the pavilion opened again as a figure fully covered in a black cloak walked in. Greetings, Zhuge family head and the lords from Tianzhou sect. I am Xiang Tuo. The figure bowed slightly as he removed his black cloak, revealing his youthful face. I never expected the Xiang family to send you over. Zhuge Hong looked at Xiang Tuo with great interest. Xiang Tuo was the most talented young man from the Xiang family. He was as talented as Zhuge Hong and a part of a clan. What we are planning to do is too important. My family head is paying much attention to it. Xiang Tuo smiled. Do you ask the Golden Cauldron sect for help? Zhuge Hong asked. I did not ask the experts from my clan for help. We should not need their help, right? Xiang Tuo asked. Yes. With the help of the Tianzhua sect, the overall power level of the Zhuge family is far above that of the Lin family. As long as the Xiang family is willing to help, we can capture the Lin mansion easily without asking the Golden Cauldron sect for help. Zhuge Yuanchong nodded his head slightly and said, if the experts from the Lin mansion heard this conversation, they would be shocked. The Xiang family was also one of the 6 top-tier families within the Anzhou prefecture. It was extremely powerful. They had a total of 4 chaotic divine demons and 10 half-step chaotic divine demons. This lineup made the Xiang family the most powerful family in the Anzhou prefecture. And the Zhuge family had allied with the Xiang family? This time, the Xiang family will send 3 chaotic divine demon, 10 half-step chaotic divine demons. Are you satisfied with this lineup? Xiang Tuo asked. Yes, absolutely satisfied. Zhuge Yuanchong's eyes lit up and the remaining people in the room started smiling. The Zhuge family was already more powerful than the Lin family. Now that the Xiang family had provided so many experts, the Lin family would have no way to defeat them if nothing went wrong. Then let us discuss how to split the territory and resources that the Lin family is controlling after we have defeated them. The representatives from both families started discussing. Very quickly, they came to an agreement. Lin Mansion. Brother Wushuang. My father has ordered me to bring you to the Purple Virtue Hall when the experts from Zhuge family attacks, Lin Yan said. Purple Virtue Hall? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He had been living in the Lin Mansion for around 3 years. He was very familiar with this place. The Purple Virtue Hall was located at the outermost area of the Lin Mansion. It was located near the back door of the mansion. Not just the 2 of us. He has asked me to bring along your mother, Qingqing, the talented young disciples and the important family members along. We will gather at the Purple Virtue Hall and one of the senior brothers will protect us. If the Lin Mansion manages to stop the Zhuge family, everything will be all right. If we cannot, then Lin Yan fell silent. If they fail, your father will ask Brother Tao and one of the senior brothers to escort us to escape this place, right? Jian Wushuang looked at Lin Yan and finished his sentence. Yes. Lin Yan nodded his head heavily. Jian Wushuang could understand why Lin Taifeng had made this call. Lin Taifeng was the family head. Even though he felt that the Lin family could stop the Zhuge family, he was planning for the worst. If the experts from the Lin family could not stop them, the entire Lin mansion could be massacred. The important people from this family had to escape this massacre immediately. If that were the case, he would order all the experts and disciples from the Lin family to escape. These experts and disciples will cover us and leave the Lin mansion after we left. The reason why we are still here is because the situation is still under control. Furthermore, the Lin mansion will be in a mess if we leave now, Lin Yan said. You father is doing the right thing. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. If these talented disciples and family members left now, it would show the experts that the Lin mansion had sought help from that the Lin family was not confident in defeating their enemies. Furthermore, if the Zhuge family found out, they would target these disciples and family members. This would result in greater losses. We will follow your father's orders and stay within the Purple Virtue Hall, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. Lin Yan nodded his head in agreement. He then asked, Brother Wushuang, do you think that we will have to evacuate? Nope. Jian Wushuang nodded his head straight away. But how are you so confident? Lin Yan looked at Jian Wushuang and asked. Because I will not allow it. Jian Wushuang looked Lin Yan in the eye. He did not elaborate further. In the blink of an eye, 8 days passed. On this day that Lord left, and the commandery governor continued to shut himself away from the rest of the world and cultivate. The Lin family and the Zhuge family received the news at the same time. Chapter 23-33, Attack. In front of Zhuge family's gigantic mansion, many figures were floating. Every one of them had an extremely powerful aura. At the front of the crowd, Zhuge Yuancheng was boiling with killing intent. Everyone. The Lin family and the Zhuge family have fought for many years. Countless cultivators from the Zhuge family have died at the hands of the Lin family. Today, we will bring justice to our fallen brothers. Zhuge Yuancheng said coldly. His voice reverberated in the entire space. Onwards, attack the Lin mansion. The experts from the Zhuge family and Tian's sect followed his orders and moved. Bush. Hundreds of figures were headed for the Lin mansion, and they looked like a nest of bees in the sky. The weakest expert among them was in the chaotic realm. Lin mansion, within the meeting hall. Family head, we have received intel from the scouts that the people formed the Zhuge family have entered our territory. They will reach the Lin mansion within half a day. One of the elders from the Lin family said in a serious tone. They are fast, Lin Taifeng muttered to himself. He then commanded, tell the experts from the Lin mansion to prepare for battle. Also, open the Purple Virtue Hall and tell Lin Tao to protect that place well. Roger. The elder left to execute the orders. Hundreds of people gathered within the spacious Purple Virtue Hall. Many of the young disciples and the important family members were here. Jian Wushuang and his mother, Luo Xinqin, were part of the crowd. The door of the hall was closed. Lin Tao and a senior brother who had a sword on his back stood near the door. During the time the Lin family and the Zhuge family were battling it out, they would not allow anyone to enter the Purple Virtue Hall. Of course, this meant that the people within the Purple Virtue Hall could not leave either. The people inside the Purple Virtue Hall could only leave after the battle was over and the Zhuge family had retreated. The other case would be if the Lin family lost this battle, then Lin Shou would open the door and lead everyone to escape the Lin mansion. Senior brother, thank you for protecting the Purple Virtue Hall with me, Lin Tao said to the senior brother standing beside him. This is an easy job. I feel uncomfortable that I cannot fight in at the front line with senior sister Hua and the other experts from the Lin family. Lin Tao laughed awkwardly. Don't worry, junior brother. The Lin mansion is not weak. With the help of senior sister Hua, there shouldn't be any problem fending off the Zhuge family, the man in black clothes said. I hope that is the case. Lin Tao nodded his head. Within the crowd, Jian Wushuang sat on the floor with his mother, Luo Xinqin. Jian Wushuang was calm, while his mother knitted her eyebrows anxiously. She was worried for Zhuge Yunfeng, who would be fighting at the front line. Don't worry, mother. Father will come back safely. Jian Wushuang comforted her. Wushuang, you know your father's temper. It will be best if the Lin family can emerge victorious in this battle. However, he will definitely fight with Lin Taifeng to the end. If that is the case, Luo Xinqin clenched her teeth tightly. Do not worry, mother, that will not happen, Jian Wushuang said to her with confidence. Luo Xinqin was still extremely anxious even after Jian Wushuang comforted her. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang sighed lightly. However, his gaze was extremely sharp. Even though he was within the Purple Virtue Hall and not on the front line, he released his soul power. Once the Lin mansion could not handle the enemies, he would step in immediately. They are here. Jian Wushuang irises constricted. His soul power covered the entire Lin mansion. He could sense that a large numbers of figures had descended at the front door of the Lin mansion. The experts from the Zhuge family had arrived. At the door of the Lin mansion, a large number of experts from the Lin mansion stood there. They waited quietly until they saw the figures that resembled a nest of bees appear in the sky. Hundreds of figures appeared in front of them. Zhuge Yuancheng. Lin Taifeng raised his head. Killing intent was burning within his eyes as he glared at Zhuge Yuancheng. Has the day finally come? Ha! Lin Taifeng. I have waited for this day for a very long time. It is finally time. Zhuge Yuancheng bellowed with laughter. Humph! I am not here to speak nonsense with you. You are here today to capture the Lin family. It is a pity that you do not have the ability to do so, Lin Taifeng said coldly. What a joke. We have the ability to do so. How could the Lin family stand in my way? Zhuge Yuanchong sneered. He then waved his hands and shouted, "Experts from the Zhuge family, tech. Kill everyone within this place." Boom. Immediately, the hundreds of figures from the Zhuge family attacked. "Stop them!" Lin Taifeng waved his hands and shouted. The well-prepared experts from the Lin family and those the Lin family had sought help from charged forward. A full-scale battle started. "Zhuge Yuanchong!" Lin Taifeng shouted with a gloomy look. He radiated a strong devilish aura and a monstrous killing intent which swept over everyone on the battlefield. He glared at Zhuge Yuanchong, wanting to battle it out with him. "Humph. Seems like you have completely recovered from your injuries. It is fine though, as we were prepared for this." Zhuge Yuanchong smiled coldly. He then called out, "Elder Chen." A figure in gray clothes appeared in front of Lin Taifeng. It was Elder Chen from the Zhuotian sect. The power of the aura that Elder Chen had was on par with that of Lin Taifeng. "I have heard that the head of the Lin family has reached the peak of Tier 3 of the Divine Demon Realm. Even though you were severely injured, you fought a Tier 2 chaotic Divine Demon and survived. Today, I will have a taste of your power," Elder Chen said indifferently. Lin Taifeng's face turned dark. He felt pressured when he stood before Elder Chen. He knew that Elder Chen's fighting power was on par with his. "If you want to die, don't blame me for killing you." Lin Taifeng roared and attacked. "Don't boast about your abilities." Elder Chen smiled in disdain. Two peak Tier 3 chaotic divine demons started their battles, and so did the experts from the Lin family and the Zhuge family. The Lin family was powerful. If not, they would not have been able to compete with the Zhuge family for so many years. The Zhuge family sent every expert they had, 3 chaotic divine demons. They would have 4 chaotic divine demons including Elder Chen. They also had 10 half-step chaotic divine demons and numerous experts in the chaotic realm. This was an extremely powerful lineup. On the other side, the Lin family was not weak. They had 3 chaotic divine demons including Lin Taifeng. They also had more than 10 half-step chaotic divine demons. Their experts in the chaotic realm were more powerful than their enemies. Both sides were equally matched. Except in terms of chaotic divine demons, as the Lin family had one less. Just then, an extremely violent aura swept out from within the Lin mansion and a figure appeared on the battlefield. Chapter 23:34. Injured. The newly arrived person, a messy blonde short-haired muscular man, showed a beast-like grin and a beaming barbaric craze expression. "That's Kuang Shi. It's him." The experts from both sides immediately recognized him. Kuang Shi, an unaffiliated lone divine demon expert in the Anjiu Commandery. However, he was there under the Lin clan's request as he dashed out of Lin Mansion. Kuang Shi giggled with an opened mouth and dashed into the battle the next moment. He began to fight a divine demon expert from the Zhuge clan. Lin clan's divine demons received substantial help from him as the fights between both sides immediately turned more balanced with equal battle prowess and matching abilities. "Lin Taifeng, looks like your clan prepared very well this time, huh? You even invited Kuang Shi to be here. I wonder how much you paid him?" Zhuge Yuanchong smiled disdainfully. "How can I not have some preparations when you made such huge waves coming over?" Lin Taifeng humphed coldly. "That's also true. However, do you think the Lin clan won't be slaughtered just because you hired Kuang Shi? Perhaps you're underestimating us too much. We are at least 90% confident to win for our clan to dare touch yours." Zhuge Yuanchong grinned mysteriously. "It's about time. It's coming." Just as the Lin clan members were wondering what he meant, dozens of figures dashing over from the distant void. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in the void surrounding the battlefield. Among them were 3 leaders, with all of them being chaotic divine demon. Other than that, there were around a dozen pseudo-divine demon realm experts, with the rest being peak chaotic realm. It was a terrifying lineup. Their appearance caused everyone on the battlefield to momentarily stop fighting. "Xiang Zong." Lin Taifeng gave a deadly stare at one of their leaders, who was a purple-haired middle-aged man. "Xiang clan?" The Lin clan members were shocked. Xiong clan was one of the top 6 big clans of the Anjou commandery. The Lin clan was normally respectful toward the Xiong clan and seldom crossed them. However, why had experts from the Xiong clan shown up? Furthermore, it was obvious they were here to join forces with the Zhuge clan. Clan leader Xiong, the Xiong clan, and Lin clan never had any resentment toward each other. I had never offended you in any way for certain, but why are you here today? Lin Taifeng was trying hard to repress his anger. Lin Taifeng, you had indeed never crossed the Xiong clan. However, that doesn't mean they won't come looking for you. Zhuge Yuanchong scoffed and laughed. Clan leader Lin, the Xiong clan has earlier come to an agreement with the Zhuge clan. In addition, we have an inter-clan marriage and also share the same goals with the Zhuge clan, hence we'll have to sacrifice the Lin clan for Xiong clan's benefit, said Xiong Zong. Sacrifice. Lin Taifeng burst into great anger. Xiong clan, you're shameless. Clan leader Xiong, don't waste time talking to him. Let's work together and immediately destroy the Lin clan, said Zhuge Yuanchong. Those are exactly my plans. Xiong Zong nodded before waving his large hand. Move! Many experts from the Xiong clan instantly began rushing into the battlefield like starving beasts. No! This is bad. The experts from Lin clan were horrified. The Lin clan would not be afraid at all were they to fight the Zhuge clan alone. However, when the Zhuge clan collaborated with the Xiong clan, a great number of Xiong clan experts had immediately rushed over and joined the battle, which caused a huge gap between both sides' battle power. The Lin clan experts were immediately suppressed. Inside the Zide Palace, a large number of Lin clan's disciples and family members were gathered together. Some who were at the chaotic realm unleashed their soul powers to check on the battlefield at the Lin mansion's gates. Despair took over the Zide Palace when they saw the number of Xiong clan members arriving. Xiong clan? Xiong clan has attacked us? Damn it, is the Xiong clan working with the Zhuge clan? Doomed. The Lin clan is doomed. Lin Tao, who was guarding the entrance of the palace, and his senior brother were both equally shocked. The Xiong clan? Jian Wushuang frowned. He knew earlier that the Zhuge clan had made extraordinary preparations which proved to be true. The only matter Jian Wushuang did not expect was that the Zhuge clan had secretly established an alliance with one of the 6 top clans of Anjou commandery, the Xiong clan. The Lin clan was in deep trouble when a large number of the Xiong clan experts arrived. Jian Wushuang's expression shifted as he immediately stood up. Shuang, what is it? Luo Xinqin immediately looked over. It's father. He's injured, said Jian Wushuang. In the battle outside of the Lin mansion, Jian Wushuang's soul power could see Zhuge Yunfeng crossing hands with a Zhuge clan divine demon expert and had suffered some injuries under the divine demon's attacks. What? Luo Xinqin was shocked. Is he all right? He'll be all right for now, said Jian Wushuang. However, he knew very well that given the situation the Lin clan had been completely overpowered and their defeat was only a matter of time. As soon as they were defeated, perhaps all the experts in the Lin mansion were going to be killed, including his father. Perhaps it's time for me to take action? Jian Wushuang mumbled to himself. Upon looking at Luo Xinqin before him, who was extremely worried and anxious, he took a deep breath and said, Please don't worry, mother. I'll safely bring father back. You. Luo Xinqin was stunned and immediately said, Shuang, don't be impulsive. She did not want anything to happen to Zhuge Yunfeng, and neither did she want to see Jian Wushuang injured. Brother Wushuang. Lin Yan and Lin Qingqing beside him both looked over at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and did not say a word as he directly walked toward Zide Palace's gates. At the gates, Lin Tao and his senior brother, the black-robed man with the long sword on his back, were both quietly guarding. Even though the battle outside was fierce, they had no intentions of joining the fight. They had their mission. Jian Wushuang came up at that moment. Open the gates, I need to go out, said Jian Wushuang directly. Go out? Jian Wushuang, you'd better stay here. What's happening outside isn't something you can interfere with, answered Lin Tao. The black-robed man shot a gaze at Jian Wushuang as well. Both of them were responsible to keep Side Palace safe and would not let anyone out until the battle was over and the Lin clan was safe. The gates of the Zide Palace would only be opened when the Lin clan was defeated and needed to immediately escape. Jian Wushuang did not say more and only pointed a finger outward. Jian Wushuang, what do you think you're doing? Lin Tao stared at Jian Wushuang. However, Jian Wushuang suddenly moved. A ghastly shadow abruptly flashed by which caused Lin Tao's eye to widen from his incapability to react. Jian Wushuang's figure had once again reappeared on the same spot. "I'll kill you if you dare stop me." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.